So I want to start recording, maybe? Thinking about it. It's still thinking about it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Hunter and Puma back again.
Hello.
For Ninja Podcast. We haven't done one of these. Actually, well, we did a Ninja Podcast at Christmas. We did a couple of them, actually. We did Sasuke, but a rare podcast, definitely.
Yeah.
Something even rarer than that is me playing this game. I wanted to just chill and play something whilst we're recording this. So, for the first time since 2016, you get to see a bit of Banjo Kazooie magic. Yeah, but Puma, what are we here today?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of Sasuke podcasts before, and I've been thinking lately, and I asked Hunter about this idea. And the concept is the top 10 competitors in Sasuke history. We do a lot about this, about the Halo jumping and who are the top Halo jumpers. But we never really talked about what the show that made us all jump in the first place on Halo, and that is Sasuke, and the competitors that have been a part of that. So I asked Hunter to make a top 10. I made mine. Had an extensive list. Talked it over with the one person that they thought was a pretty good one as well.
Who was
I
that?
can't speak. I spoke to it with Flame. So I wanted to ask Flame. So Flame and I talked it over. We did make one switch, which at the end of the day, I think was a correct switch. And then, basically, my criteria for ranking 10 people, I can't speak for Hunter on how he decided his ranking, is consistency, longevity, results compared to other competitors in the tournaments that they competed in, and dominance in an era.
Okay. I've I'm not going to drift off topic too much, but for those looking at the screen right now, I've looked at a leaderboard of everyone on my friends list. Turns out there's only 2 people on my friends list that have ever fully perfected this game. One of them was my older brother, who's never competed, and the other was Sane the Legend, and it took Sane twice as long to do it as my brother. Epic Landlord almost perfected the game, but he came 1 jiggy short and managed to complete the whole game in just over 6 hours, which is actually quite impressive. Hey, hang on a minute, I'm on this list. Woo! I'm in the 625,000 best players. I'm gonna at least jump ahead of this guy when I get 3 more jiggies.
Moving
3
up
more
in the
jiggies.
world.
I'll who knows? Maybe by the end of this podcast, I'll jump into the top 600,000.
He'll make it the top 10 of Banjo Kazooie players.
This is a great game. This is part of my childhood, I have to say. So one of the things with my criteria was consistency, longevity, personal accomplishments. Is their personal best on the course better than, say, a lot of the other guys that are going to be on this list? Is their best days when they were successful? Was that obviously because you got to judge it based on the course at the time? There's probably going to be some people on this list who dominated in an era that was far, far easier. The course would have been considered far, far easier. But you can only beat the course that's in front of you at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I try not to judge too much, is if someone was good in like the earlier tournaments, for example, and people would be like, oh, this competitor would have dominated that era. It's like, well, they didn't compete in that era. You gotta judge the level of competition at the time.
Exactly, yeah. So, like I say, that was probably my criteria. So Puma probably covered a bit more criteria than I did when I was choosing my 10 people and then what order I put them in. But, yeah, I mean, I guess we should probably just, since we know the criteria, I think there's nothing else, we might as well get started on it.
Yeah. Would you like to begin, or would you like me to begin?
You can go first, yeah, the top 10 Sasuke competitors of all time.
All
We're
right.
gonna start from 10 up, and we're gonna go through each one individually.
Yeah, so my number 10 might be a little controversial. I was contemplating between this competitor and a couple others. But number 10, I have Katsumi Yamada. I know he hasn't cleared stage 1 since Sasuke 12, but you can't tell me that there's someone who had a far more dominant stretch in the first 12 tournaments than him. You could say Shingo is like the second closest, but honestly, I wouldn't even say that Shingo was close in terms of the consistency, the longevity that he had in the first 12 tournaments, the legacy that Katsumi Yamada left in the first 12 tournaments, the amount of memorable moments, the amount of great results that he had, clearing stage 1 10 times, getting to the third stage a lot, reaching the final stage and nearly getting total victory. I think people forget just how good Yamada was in his first 12 tournaments because of how bad he's done in the other ones, but I feel like his first 12 tournaments alone make him a top 10 contestant.
Yeah, I can sort of get behind that. I think probably the reason why he is so beloved, but whether you say beloved, why he's considered so memorable and why he's just made himself completely a part of the history of Sasuke is because of his dedication, but the fact he backed up his dedication with the level of success that he had in those first 12 tournaments. Because if you think, like, what are we talking? 10 stage 1 clears in the first 12 tournaments. So he would have been the most successful stage 1 competitor, at least, until... I don't know how long it took Shingo to get to 10 clears, but...
Yeah, because Shingo
Shingo
was very inconsistent. He failed every even-numbered tournament from Tournament 4 up until Tournament 12, where he finally cleared an even-numbered tournament again.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math in my head now. It was like, what's stage 1 of the first 3? 5, 7, 9... Oh, you know what, actually, he would have got to 10 clears. He would have got to 10 clears. Like, shout out to, I assume that's Apex. I can hear in the background on Puma's mic. He would have got to 10 clears, about not long after Yamada, actually, now that I think about it. 11, 12, 13. Yeah, in fact, he would have got it. He would have actually gone ahead of him, I think. Not long after Yamada last cleared stage 1. So actually, maybe that's not the best comparison in the world. But
I think it is fair because I think Shingo, in the first 10 tournaments, Shingo was the second best competitor. But he was inconsistent. Because you can say Akiyama is like a top 3, but he only really had the 3 stage 1 clears, and he had the total victory, yeah, but he was never able to really back it up ever. Which is why I don't think Akiyama's a top 10, or even I'd say a top 20 competitor. But in the first 10 tournaments, I would say Shingo and Yamada are the top 2. And it's not even... I think the gap between Shingo and Yamada is larger than Shingo and King Kazooie, who I think King Kazooie was the 3rd best in the first 10 tournaments.
Excuse me, sorry.
No, you're all good.
No, I do get where that comes from. I mean, it's difficult. Again, that's a whole different debate in itself. Sort of judging the early era, the best competitors, because you've got, you've got the obvious, and I do think you have to throw Akiyama in there at least at the beginning, for the fact that he was the only person to win.
Definitely.
But aside from those 3, Takeda obviously, and then Kane. But apart from that.
But Ikutani didn't really start showing up until the later end of the top 10, and Ichimura fell off, and Akira Mori fell off.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say in terms of just looking at the legacy as well as the dominance that he had in the first 10, and really setting the foundation for what a top competitor can and will do, I think Yamada has to be 10.
I think, like, he had, 3 first place finishes, I think, in...
Yeah, Yamada got first in 3, 6, and 10, so he had 3 first place finishes.
And then on top of that, he finished second in tournament 5. It must have done well. He even his timeout in Sasuke 7, he still timed out in the last obstacle, so he had to have done well and finished high in that tournament.
When your worst performance is the warped wall, that's not bad.
395.
Yeah. It's a shame, obviously, he was never able to replicate his success after Tournament 12, but even then he still had a couple close calls. Tournament 18, in particular.
I gotta give him props. Even though he was going so slow that I think you could probably tell he wasn't going to clear stage 1 in 18.
Yeah.
You still gotta give him props for how far he got on that brand new course.
Well, that was the thing too. When Yamato was first competing, he was already in his early to mid 30s, whereas like some of the players that were higher on the list, like they started very young and had a lot of time to build it up. He was kind of already at the end of his peak in terms of physicality. He was still dominating at that level.
I think that's probably the big thing that will always be thrown with Yamada. Is like Sasuke came along too late because he was in like what? He was like
34.
He was in Banzuki and he did a few things in that, wasn't it? But there really wasn't anything. Well, Viking was Viking a thing before Sasuke?
Viking was 2005.
Oh, okay, never mind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his last really good run, in my opinion, was the last time he beat the warped wall, in my opinion, which was 23.
Yeah. Since Nagano's total victory, he never really had, outside of 18, a real close shot. But yeah, I think that is a good culmination in number 10, and we can move on to your number 10.
Yes, so my number 10 is a more modern competitor, and it's the first of a few modern competitors I've got on my list. Number 10 for me is Hioki.
Ooh, that is interesting. Okay, I'm curious what your reasoning is. No, I'm very curious actually.
Oh, sorry, no. I was saying this is so bad because I just completely forgot how to play this game for a second. Pressing buttons and couldn't figure out what to do. So my thinking with Hioki, honestly, this is probably where consistency becomes the thing for me. I just think since his first stage 1 clear in what was it, 29?
Yeah, in 29, yeah.
He has become, aside from, in the top 3 in terms of consistency, in my opinion, since Sasuke Rising began, has been him, Jun Sato, and Yusuke.
Yeah.
Huh. And I just don't think Hioki gets the level of credit for his consistency. If you think about the so-called great competitors of these last like 10 or so tournaments, or since Sasuke Rising started,
yeah,
most of them have either just their form has dropped off a cliff and they can't clear stage 1 anymore. Which might actually be the reason why some of these names, like Kano, I'm going to say this right now, Kano and Shunsuke were outside contenders. They are not in my top 10. And I think their form has dropped off a cliff so bad, and that's the reason why they're not in my top 10.
Yeah, Shinsuke missed out on my top 10. He was in a clump of a couple people that
I did consider Shinsuke.
So I never considered Kano, but I honestly probably should have, but I've forgotten just how good he used to be.
Kano is you say it's like how good he used to be. Even like in his prime years, he struggled massively with consistency as well.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And it wasn't until Sasuke Rising that he started to show that consistency.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the cards always fell kind of bad for Kano. He had that great tournament, and he had the great 2 tournaments that got him new star rank.
Yeah.
Then he struggled with consistency. I mean, after he got to the final stage, he didn't get back to stage 3 again until Rising.
Yep.
Then Rising did come along, and he did finally start to show some consistency.
And then all the injuries.
This is where, well, yeah. The injuries didn't help, but I think that's where sort of some problems started to happen with the course, because the cliffhanger became such an important part of the course that he was one of the people who has struggled with it more than anyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that I want to go off course talking about Kano, but
no,
put it this way: Shunsuke was way closer to being in my top 10 than Kano was.
I would agree with that. But yeah, with Hioki though.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I think with Hioki, he has been incredibly consistent. I don't think people give him enough credit. Especially, I would say he's been a top 5 person since the Rising era has begun.
I mean, he hasn't failed stage 1, I think, since Sasuke 32. I'm correct in saying.
Yeah, I think the one thing that always has held him back, and a lot of people from saying he's like great, is that when he does get to stage 3, he just hasn't been able to beat the cliffhanger, and I think that's always been the one big thing that's held him back.
That's the one reason why I couldn't put him higher. Like, he was in a cluster of competitors that was considered to just make it into this top 10 list, but whilst he did just make it in on my list, I couldn't put him higher than 10 because of the fact his personal best is still the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think that, and that still potentially could change. He is starting to age up. He's around his early 40s right now.
I think he's 40 now, actually.
Yeah, so who knows how much longer he does have it in the tank, but if he continues even consistently doing well, even if he never beats the cliffhanger, I think he's someone that deserves a lot more recognition than he actually gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't put Hioki in my top 10, but I can get if people want Hioki in the top 10.
I'm trying to do the math in my head now of how many stage 1 clears he actually does have. Oh, he's got more than 10. I can already do the math. Like, if he's not failed stage 1 since Sasuke 32, then he's on a run of 7 in a row right now?
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, actually, and that's another thing as well. And I think we might come on to that, talking about that record later, but the record is still 8 tournaments in a row. So he could... Hioki, of all people, could tie... Well, 8 straight tournaments, because obviously Jun Sato's got his... I can't remember what he got to. Did he get to 7 in a row and then miss the tournament? Or did he actually hit 8? I think he got to 7 in a row, didn't he? And then he missed.
Technically, if you still count... Was it 23 through 25?
He has the record for his appearances, but not for tournaments.
No, yeah. So he was at 7, I believe. He didn't break Nagano or tie Nagano. Yeah.
He didn't tie Nagano and Takeda, I believe. Actually.
Yeah.
They both have that record.
Yeah, because they both had 11 through 18.
Yeah. So he's got to be. In fact, he might actually have 10 clears as well, Hioki. Think about it. If he's on 7 in a row, and he cleared stage 1,
he's 29, 30, and 31.
Yeah, so he's on 10 clears as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty darn impressive. Yeah, consistency. Yeah. That's the pure and simple. That's why Hioki makes my list.
That's fair. I like that. So number 9, I have our only international competitor in the list, and that is Lian Qi.
Okay, you know what? I've got to say it now. Lee is number 9 on my list as well.
Oh yeah, that's good. Well, we can talk about him then. Yeah, so fun fact, this was the one thing that I actually had. I actually had Lian Qi a little higher, but I brought him down because after talking to Flame, realized that he didn't have a very long peak, and he did have some weird stretches of inconsistency. But I think overall, if you look at Lian Qi's record, the amount of stage 1 clears he had, he did struggle a bit on stage 2s, but when he got to stage 3, he performed really well, and I think that's something that people forget, that he was very good. Besides his Shin cliffhanger fail, he had a stage 3 clear, did incredibly well for the Ultimate Cliffhanger for in 25, where that was basically impossible, and in 26, where he got a first place. His crazy cliffhanger attempt wasn't that bad at all. Him clearing stage 1s and getting pretty far on the stage 2s that he did fail, whether it was timing out the wall lift or passing wall, or failing the middle spin twice. I think that his overall consistency was very good, and in his time, he was always the top international competitor, and he was always the one person that was outside of Japan, always the biggest threat. Outside of the Japanese competitors, the biggest threat to win the course.
If someone put together, we're not going to do this, but if someone put together a top 10 Sasuke foreign competitors, there's a half decent case to be made that Lee could be justified as being number 1.
I would say he would be number 1. Because the only other one that I would put at number 2 is Kane, but Kane just doesn't have the tournaments.
Kane doesn't have the tournaments. Jochev doesn't have the tournaments either, although I think Jordan Jochev, representing for the Europeans, the only person representing for the Europeans. No, sorry, apart from Rene, but Rene is at the minute a one-off. A one and... wish he would... Wish Japan could open up again. But then you've got a handful of Americans, David Campbell, but he's only got 3 tournaments to his belt. You know who, which could be at the he would be at the top end of this list for his consistency, but didn't have a final stage to his name, so he couldn't. I don't think you could consider him at the top of the list regardless. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think when it came to Lian Qi, it was always interesting in that sense where people kind of forget like his first couple tournaments was 17 and 18, where he popped up in those 2.
I love that he's one of these competitors. He's like the you of my course, because you had that great breakout tournament in the last tournament of my 360 era.
Yeah.
So you got a taste of success on the old course before you've then done your best stuff in the current era, and I think that's the same thing with Lee.
Definitely. I think I would say tournament 21 was a success. He got 4th place on that tournament, so like that was so he did very well in the Shin Sasuke era, and then post Shin Sasuke got 2 straight first places, which is a feat that not many people have or can claim to. Obviously the step slider was a little embarrassing.
How many people actually have... that's something I've never even thought about, how many people have had back-to-back first place. I mean, I think his 26, you could argue, is a tie for first place, but it's still a first place either way.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be too many people that have got back-to-back first place finishers.
Besides Nagano, Yuji, Yusuke, and the American.
Yuji ever got back-to-back? 27
and 28.
Yeah.
I think there's only 5 people that have gotten back to back.
You know who?
Yeah.
I almost said his name. I didn't say his name, I swear to God.
There you go.
I love his final stage as well, because actually, this is the one thing that maybe the reason why he's at the bottom of my list is he only cleared the cliffhanger once. But when he did, he got to the final stage.
Definitely.
And I don't think, again, that's a similar thing where it's not enough credit. The fact that he's one of only 3 foreign competitors, if you count Kane obviously as a foreign competitor, he's one of only 3 foreign competitors to reach... No, 4 foreign competitors
maybe 4,
to reach the final stage. I forgot about... I actually forgot about Jochev then for a second. It wasn't that I forgot about Rene. I forgot about the original foreign competitor.
So that's always...
I think he did have the worst attempt though on the final stage in that 24.
Yeah, I'd say between him and Okayama, those were the two worst, easily.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that covers Lee at 9.
Yeah. So number 8 is the person that I think should have been an all-star over Bunpei, and that's Naoki Gatani. So
I wondered if you were going to put him on this list.
Yeah, Ikatani is gonna get number 8 because, yeah, he was a little inconsistent at times. I agree with you there, but for a long time, he had the most Stage 3 appearances out of any non-All-Star, which is something to not, like, brush away at. He was consistently always up there in terms of extremely good results. He made a final obstacle Stage 3. He consistently got to the cliffhanger post that attempt in Sasuke 4. He was always seen as an incredibly high top competitor. And the one thing that people forget is that he cleared Stage 1 in a lot of different eras, whether that was the first 4 tournaments, the green mat era, the black mat era, post Sasuke 27 and 26, where he was only one.
26 for me is his shining. Especially in the G4 edit, because he gets real props in the G4 edit, because obviously there are no foreign competitors, so it's made to look like he was one of only 5 people to beat Stage 1.
Yeah.
Obviously that's obviously misconstrued, because there was not 5 clears, but
yeah. But I think
that for me is one of his shining points, even though it's like one of his worst ever Stage 2 runs in 26. Just hit the fact he beat that Stage 1, I think, makes it one of the best points in his career.
Even failing Stage 2 in 26 and 27, his Stage 2 record is great. And he has 6 Stage 3s, which is a lot more than other people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I couldn't do the numbers in my head, but you've obviously just covered it just now. Yeah, I think the best way for me to describe Ikutani, I think, is that he was the consistent competitor. Like, he was the consistent competitor that wasn't an all-star before Kenji Takahashi got that level of credit.
Yeah, because there was always that, like, in every era, there was always that one competitor that wasn't necessarily an all-star, but was always, like, viewed as someone who could win. And, like, there's that large clump where, in the early part, it was, like, Ikutani, Nakata, and Asaoka were, like, the 3 guys that were, like, they weren't all-stars, but they were the people that you could look for, that, like, hey, I could see these people realistically winning the course.
Yeah. Shin Sasuke had a lot of them, actually, now that I think about it. There was a lot of competitors that were sort of knocking on the door, including Lee Enchi.
Yeah, like Lee, Okayama, Takahashi were kind of that era's, like Ikutani, Nakata, and Asaoka. But I would say out of those, Ikutani was the best of them. And I honestly think that he should have been an all-star, and I will still always stand by that.
I won't get into a debate with about the Bunpei thing. I think Bunpei just about did enough. I think he is the one he deserves. He should only be like the number 6. He should be at the bottom of the list in terms of all-star. But I think he just did enough. Is the thing for me.
That's fair. But
again, we're not going to get into the debate. And I actually respect his comeback run in his one-off comeback appearance in 30, because I think if he didn't fail the way he did, he actually might have had a shot at beating that Stage 1.
I think he would have beaten that Stage 1. That would have been having 4 All-Stars on that Stage 2.
Because I couldn't see him, it would have just depended how tired he was for that second walk to wall. Because I think he had the time, and the second walk to wall would have been the only thing that could have stopped him.
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, Ikutani, I think, is always undervalued in terms of looking at their results and the dominance that he had in not only early Sasuke, but later Shin Sasuke stuff. So, with that, you can do your number 8.
My number 8 is Jun Sato. Very similar to Hyoki. Consistency, but you back that up with the fact that he is a speed demon. That's just the thing, really. He's just a better Hyoki, in my opinion. And he has also got a lot of records on his side, you know. The fact that this little scrawny 16-year-old, when he first competed, now has the record for most Stage 1 clears in a row for appearances. The first and so far only person to go 10 appearances in a row, clearing Stage 1.
Yeah.
And it's him, of all people. That's fair play.
what I always find funny is I remember we were looking at the run order for 32, and we noticed that Sato was coming back, and we were kind of goofing about it. And then he got triple digested, and like the reoccurring theme that Jun Sato has had since he's come back is that he's just been fast-forwarded all the time. So you never really get to see him dominate, but he's been always there, always consistently performing well.
I mean, since he came back, that's the other thing as well. Since he came back, he's got to stage 3 every time. So 7 stage 3s in a row ties the record as well. He obviously can't get the record. He can get it for appearances if he comes back, yeah. But he now can't break Takeda's consecutive tournaments record.
Yeah.
But that's another thing, since we're talking about records. The fact that he has that on his, he has that going for him.
Yeah. No, I think Jun Sato has been a very pleasant surprise and consistently very good. Obviously, he hasn't beaten a cliffhanger yet, but that's something that you can't really hold against him particularly. I think he's been the first real speed person that's been able to consistently clear. Because like we've had speed people in the past, whether it's Wreathman or Levi or anyone, that they only focus on going as fast as they can and they end up making mistakes or don't get really far into the tournament. Or there's like a limit to how far they can go, whereas Jun Sato, I think, could get to a final stage. It's just that stage 3, he just has to put everything together on that cliffhanger, and I think he can do it.
No, bastard! Oh, I just lost this game I was playing. But I didn't actually lose it, I tied it, and that counts as a loss.
There you go, there you go.
Uh-oh, now he's gonna kill me. Oh, crap. He's gonna eat me. Yeah, oh god, he's actually chasing after me. Okay, could you leave me alone, please? Are you done? Can we play again? Do I have to do the whole thing again? Or do I just have to play the last game? Oh, last game, okay, good. Anyway, yeah, I just think Jun Sato, like I said, is a more consistent Hyuki, because the other thing as well is that Hyuki, whilst his stage 1 and for the most part stage 2 record is pretty solid, he has had, you know, Jun Sato has, in all of his appearances bar 1, got to the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he gets it from me.
Yeah, I really like the consistency, very good. And yeah, with that, we can go to number 7. For number 7, for me, I have Yoshioku Okiyama. His overall consistency and dominance in the Shin Sasuke era, whether that was in Sasuke 20, clearing being one of only 3 to clear stage 1, his continued success going forward from 22 through 27, making the 3rd stage every time, having a final stage appearance, having very good results in those stage 3s outside of 27, is incredibly impressive. And then even at a very old age, in 29 in his last appearance, he beat stage 1. And he honestly probably would have made stage 3 again if the backstream wasn't the way that it was. And that's the thing too, like his stage 2 fails, whether that was the backstream or the stick slider, more or less weren't his fault, the stick slider being incredibly broken in the tournament that he failed it, and the backstream just being a drowning simulator.
It was broken in 18 as well, but the 3 guys got away with it in 18.
Yeah, so I think Okiyama has competed very well, and even his two stage 1 failures in 19, he was the first person to get to the half pipe attack, so he didn't really have a basis. Yeah, and he beat it. And then in 21, I believe he failed.
Warped wall again.
Warped wall, yeah. So he has 2 warp wall failures, but it was impressive the fact that he was the first person to get to and beat the half pipe attack. And yeah, I think overall, I would say Okiyama, his consistency and being, I would say in the Shin Sasuke era, a top 3 competitor, shows how good he was.
I think the big thing that makes I suppose this can save us some time at least. Okiyama So Akiyama's 7th on your list. He is
Yeah.
6th on my list.
Ooh.
I think the thing that makes Akiyama stick out for me is that he was the first proper competitor who was able to show that age doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because he was able to perform with all these. If Shin Sasuke was considered like the end of the All Stars and the ushering in of the new young guys, he was able to prove that old can still be successful as well. Older competitors can still do well.
Yeah.
Because what, 39 when he got to the final stage?
Yeah, he's still the oldest person to ever make final stage.
Yuji could have done it, but he let us down.
The pipe slider
fail.
Oh man.
But yeah, oldest competitor to get to the final stage, and you know, back that up with. He was he the oldest competitor to get to stage 3 before what's his face? The teacher Suzuki did it in this tournament.
Before Yusuke Suzuki did it, I think Okiyama still had it over Yuji. So yeah, because I think Yuji and Okiyama were both 41 when they made their final stage 3. And Yusuke was 43.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Yusuke. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I got my ages mixed up then. Because Okiyama's last clear, he was 43 at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just incredibly impressive. Again, it's consistency. It's that keyword we keep bringing it up. But consistency that was even more impressive considering his age. And the fact that he was able to perform.
Yeah, and that's the thing, competing in that Shin Sasuke era, being able to be I would say he was the top 3 competitor in that entire era. And that was something that a lot of people forget about that, and especially being in your late 30s, competing with a lot of newer people. It was impressive.
Yeah, exactly. So I covered my number 6. My number 7 on the list is our good buddy, all-star, Mr. Perfect, Shingo Yamamoto. Number 7.
Shingo that low. Ooh.
I think, as much as I want to put Shingo higher, I just think, and I'm judging this based on his career since, I can't even say since Sasuke 30, since his last clear. It's really like since Shin Sasuke, because he's had like what, 4?
He's only had 4 clears. Yeah,
4 clears since the start of Shin Sasuke.
Yeah,
and it's depressing, but I had to take that into account. I do kind of want to. I feel like when the All Stars stopped being called the All Stars because they tried to retire them. I feel like that's the point at which you should say, okay, all these great competitors, this is where their career gets cut off. So like everything they did before then, that's what they should get judged on for their all-star career. And everything after that is just, you know, them competing for fun. Because this is the reason why Shingo does it. He does it for fun. He doesn't do it because he expects to clear stage 1 or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, cause I guess I'll do what I'm gonna do. I put Shingo at number 5 for me.
Ooh.
And Shingo, for me, he kind of embodies what Sasuke is about, and it's like you're competing for fun against the course, and you see how far you can go. But not only that, but it's the idea of that for 17 tournaments, that stretch of dominance that he had is unrivaled. I'd say in the stage 1 clears, not only the stage 1 clears, but his stage 2 record was incredibly good. Outside of 13, he cleared stage 2 every time in all of those tournaments, and the only other times he's failed stage 2 was 25, 29, and 30. And even then, he got really far in all of those stages. His stage 3 record also, people forget that his first 4 appearances on stage 3, he either got to the last obstacle or the final stage. It wasn't until the rumbling dice that he really started going downhill. But even then, in 11 and 12, 11 he nearly beat the cliffhanger. He was on the last ledge, and then 12 he had that incredible save on the globe grasp, which honestly, if he didn't have to struggle that much on the globe grasp, he probably would have beaten the stage.
Well, I think the reason he failed the cliffhanger the way he did in 12 was because he just absolutely botched the globe grasp.
Yeah.
Whether he would have cleared, I'm not sure, but wasn't Sasuke 12 the one that, like, the dismount was incredibly easy?
Yeah, the dismount was so close. Takeda actually missed the entire third ledge of the cliffhanger. That's why his run is half cut, because they cut that part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 12 had that weird cliffhanger, but outside of that as well, like, his stage 1 record was incredible. Because in the entirety, like, post-tournament 12, like the 12 to 17 era, outside of Nagano and Takeda...
Or
like,
11 to 17, you could say, actually.
11 to 17, yeah. His streak was incredible, outside of 16, where the famous "the foot" line happens.
The foot!
Unbelievable. The foot. But outside of that, he was incredibly good. And the fact that his stage 1 fails in Shin Sasuke were more of him just kind of being stupid rather than him not being good at the course. So like,
I still stand by.
I
was going to say, I stand by his. You reckon he would have cleared stage 3 in 12? I reckon if he hadn't botched the flying shoot the way he did in 18, he would have just had enough time to clear, and that would have been awesome to see.
I think he would have cleared in 18. In 20, who knows? But he should not have failed the half pipe attack. He was an idiot. Same with 22. 21
I think was a missed
21
opportunity.
He would have cleared easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
23, unfortunately, his shoulder gave way, and then 24, he would have cleared if he didn't waste so much time at that half pipe attack.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of mental mistakes. Is actually the big thing.
For sure.
That's with those Shin Sasuke fails.
No, it is, and that was the same thing that I would even say goes to the fact Shingo is someone who's always, his fails have always been stuff that are self-inflicted, whether it's the rumbling dice dismounting too early, whether that's him trying to think he was still in Sasuke 4 and doing the rolling hill the way he did, him rushing the fishbone consistently, or forgetting how to use a trampoline after being great at a trampoline his entire career. In more modern tournaments, it's always been him rushing, and that was like in 25 too. He just assumed that the balance tank was just like the old balance tank.
You know, that kills me as well. That kills me more than I realized. Is that honestly should have been a stage 3 for Shingo in that tournament.
Definitely.
I think he definitely had the time if he had cleared the balance tank, and obviously didn't botch the metal spin, which is something he never did.
The other missed opportunity is 13. Like 13 was another missed opportunity where if he cleared, if the wall didn't eat his foot, that is still a 5 obstacle stage 3 with a curtain cling, not the globe grasp that he struggled with in the last 2 tournaments. Who knows how he could have gone there?
I do think. I wouldn't want to put too much on his stage 3 because I do think, like Ikutani, age and his shoulder, I do think did catch up with him. So I do think anything after 12, I would say, anything after he last attempted the cliffhanger, I would have said his days of clearing stage 3 were gone, because I think, failing the curtain cling, and then obviously he struggled with the body prop. I mean, some would even argue since he last cleared stage 3. He's never gotten close since. Because I think people just assumed with how bad his shoulder was, he never would have had a chance with the cliffhanger anyway. Like, it wasn't 11 and 12.
Well, that was it. Like, you saw him do stage 3 in USA versus the World, even though I hate referencing that tournament. But he struggled a lot on that stage 3 as a 40-year-old. The fact that he got to the floating boards, though, was impressive. Beat the roulette cylinder and the doorknob grasper. But no, outside of the first 17 tournaments, I would say he was the 3rd best competitor in the course. I'd say Takeda was 2 and Nagano was 1 out of the first 17 tournaments.
I was going to say across the whole, because I think we said earlier, wasn't it? Across the first 12 tournaments, Yamada would have been
the first 12 tournaments. Yamada would have been 1 in Shingo would have been 2 out of the first 12 tournaments.
But then after that, yeah.
Yeah.
Takeda and Nagano, but Shingo was still up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I just think the other big thing with Shingo is that, again, it's that thing about not getting enough credit. How many people have got to the final stage more than once, and he's in that
yeah, it's only
list,
him.
that category.
Yeah, it's only him, Akira, Mori.
5 or 6 people?
Yeah, so it's him, Akira, Mori, Nagano, Yuji, Ryo, and Morimoto. So it's 6 people. And he's one, yeah, he did it. He was the first person post Akiyama Total Victory to get to the final stage. Yeah, I think it was always his shoulder injury that always held him back. And honestly, I think that was the thing, like, if Sasuke 5, I love Sasuke 5 because Shingo just persevered through stage 2 and stage 3 with a dislocated shoulder. But there's part of me that wished that he withdrew after stage 1, so that way he would have a better longevity. Because his shoulder got... I think that's what killed his shoulder, was Sasuke 5.
You never know, do you? Unless you've kind of been through that whole thing yourself. When it comes to a serious injury. And it's just the fact you have to live with that, really, for the rest of your life. You know? Kano is living with it now. Takeda is... regretfully had to retire. Well, of that and various other injuries, but the shoulder. Kano got hurt on the crazy cliffhanger. Takeda got hurt on the TIE Fighter. Kano got hurt on the spinning bridge. I thought it was. That was what initially busted his shoulder.
That was the initial one, yeah. And then in 31, when he was able to do the flip, he re-injured his shoulder. Then.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he really. He, like, tore his shoulder.
I thought it was the warped wall in 32 that...
No, he, like, completely tore his shoulder on the cliffhanger in 31.
I do recall the warped wall, he did also bust it in 32, because he got to the top of the wall and then timed out.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was... it was 32. I didn't actually know about it. So, Smokey's great celebration... because there's a great clip of him. Damn right, Kano! when he was Team Kano.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's where Shingo is.
Yeah, so he's your 7, and I covered my number 5. So we got you got your number 6, which is Okayama, right?
It's your 6 now.
Number 6. So my number 6 is Kenji Takahashi.
He's my number 5.
Oh, nice. So we're back on track. So our Kenji, it's crazy that it's weird to think that he competed in 5, 6, and 7 because he just disappears after that. At 7, he had his great tournament, and then 16, he came back with another great tournament. And 18 as well. 18 was another great tournament. But then there's this awful stretch between 19 to 22 where he's just awful. But then from 23 all the way to 31, he's this incredibly consistent, dominant competitor that you are not surprised if he gets to the final stage like he did in 24, or gets to the gliding ring like he does in 23, or consistently does well where you're getting to the ultimate cliffhanger or the crazy cliffhanger. And that's something that's always been so incredible about Kenji, is that he was so dominant in so many different eras, but if he had been around, like say like after 7 he kept competing, or it's just crazy to think what his record could have been, and there's a lot of missed potential. And if Kenji could have easily been a top 2 competitor, or in 24 even, if he didn't get wrapped up in the rope in 24. I think it's likely he wins. I think he wins. And if he has a total victory under his belt, it's crazy to think. And his stage 2 record, obviously, is impeccable. His weird disqualification was BS. And unfortunately, he failed the conveyor belt in his last stage 2. But I think his stage 2 record is still something that is absolutely incredible, especially clearing that incredibly hard Sasuke 29. Yeah,
With the fastest time. I think
fastest time.
I feel like he on almost every stage 2 he cleared. On almost every stage 2 when he did clear, apart from maybe I knew he didn't do it in 23. I can't remember what he did in tournament 7. I feel like he might have had the fastest time as well.
I think Kenji might have had the fastest stage 2 time as well. Yeah.
I remember he had it in 16.
7.
And I know Levi beat him in 23.
But yeah, I think in 24 and 25 he had the fastest. And yeah, like there's a couple of hiccups, but everyone has those. Like whether that's the rolling escargot fail or the spinning bridge fail. But I think consistently from 23 to 31 his dominance, and the fact that he dominated in 7 and 16. And really, his only bad stage 3 is Sasuke 29. Like that's the only embarrassing stage 3 that he had.
He's had a few botched. So at least some of his cliffhanger fails have been really botched, in my opinion. I think he probably actually could have cleared that cliffhanger in 7.
Yeah, he let go right towards the end.
He I can't remember if he lost his grip or he didn't give himself enough like space for his hands.
Yeah,
when he went up to the transfer.
Yeah.
And then 29, he botched his grips.
Yeah, like if he had failed the transition, like the 3rd to 4th ledge, like that's understandable. But failing the 2nd ledge on what is basically a cliffhanger Kai at that point, that was embarrassing. But yeah, what would you say about Kenji?
He's just you know what I keep saying, I keep using that word, consistency. I think he is. I mean, he's certainly more consistent than some of the All-Stars have ever been. In my opinion, he's still the best competitor that's never been shoved into one of these like brackets of like whether it's All-Star, New Star, whatever the group is called right now. That's the Morimoto group.
No, that's where I'm at with him. He's the highest non.
He's the most successful. Yeah, he's
person.
the most successful non-All-Star or non-Star competitor.
Yeah.
I do wonder if the way he fails stage 2 and 34, where he ran out of energy, is what convinced him to retire.
Yeah.
Which is a shame to think if it is, but
yeah. No, he had a great record, and that's the thing too. Like age was catching up with him, and like his final couple stage 1s, I'm not gonna hold too much against them.
I think that period after from I don't even know what you call. I don't even know if it has an era name, like 32 onwards.
Yeah.
But after 32. Yeah, I'm not including his first TIE Fighter fail because that was obviously botched with the rain. Well, not the rain, the condensation.
Yeah.
But his second TIE Fighter fail was definitely a sign of him fading away. Again, had a bounce back tournament in 34, which was great to see. I mean, actually, how many eras? 7 and 16, that's an era. Shin Sasuke. If you count 25, 26, and 27 as Shin Sasuke as well, but I mean they could get counted as their own sort of like mini era.
Yeah, it's like a mini era, and like I would say, I would honestly say 7 and 16 are 2 different eras as well, because I think the 5 to 12 era is different than the 13 to 17 era.
Well, okay, if we're doing all these different splits, then you could then technically argue that he cleared stage 1 in 6 different eras, or at least 6 different like eras / mini eras.
Yeah.
Which is
crazy.
I think he also has the record for like the most like the different number of the most attempts at the different versions of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, he has to drop out
almost
the Kai,
every version.
Shin, Ultimate, and Crazy. So yeah, that's 6.
Yeah, it's just a great competitor. And also, you know, actually, just one last thing. This is the big thing for me that always made Kenji stand out. He could do it as a big competitor. Like, he's sort of like...
Yeah.
Like, everyone says American competitors can't be successful on the Japanese course because they're too big and heavy. And whilst I don't disagree with that, I think Kenji is the exception to the rule, where
he was.
He was, but compared to like most Japanese competitors, he was, he was a big boy.
Well, he used his size, like in height and like length for his advantage. Like the cliffhanger, like on the Shin cliffhanger, being able to just grab it like he did. No other competitor could do that.
Exactly.
It's just like physically could even be able to even think about trying that.
You can tell it always meant something to him as well. That 23 and 24. When he beat the cliffhanger in 23 for the first time, he knows how many years it's taken him to do that, and he appreciates it. And then obviously his interview when he cleared stage 3 in 24.
Yeah, that was always great. So yeah, it looks, well, at least that what I'm thinking is that we have the same top 4 going forward. So my number 4 is Yuji Urishihara.
Actually, I'm going to actually change the process because we might possibly have the same 4 competitors. So without giving the order, what are your top 4 competitors? Because I have a sneaking suspicion we might have the same 4 names.
So my 4 in no order are Nagano, Takeda, Morimoto, and Yuji.
Yeah, I've got the same 4, unsurprisingly.
Okay, cool. Before we actually go into the top 4, I think this is a good time for us to do like an honorable mention. So if you have a couple people that just missed out on the top 10 that you want to acknowledge.
Shunsuke, I think. It's just a big old rip the way his career has gone since 36.
Yeah.
I know from I know a little bit. Sorry, that he's kind of like he really doesn't practice or train anymore. Not through the lack of not through a lack of wanting. I think he just chooses not to because I don't think he has any injuries or anything like that. But yeah, I think he could have been in serious contention for me at least to be in this top 10.
No, that's very fair.
Apart from that, I can't think of anyone else really off the top of my head unless you wanted to throw an all-star. I didn't consider Yamada, but I can understand why you put him on the list. Akiyama, you'd have to say only for his total victory, but
I wouldn't have put Akiyama in at all. I will not lie, I did consider Bunpei for a little bit, even though I don't think he's a very good competitor. But compared to other competitors, he did do pretty well. I think Bunpei is like a top 20 competitor, but not a top 10. I'm agreeing with you with Shunsuke. Jun Sato is honestly my number 11 right now. So if this was a top 11, you would have been there.
Who did I put? So I put Hiyaki and Jun Sato in on my list, and you didn't.
Yeah.
And instead you put Yamada and
Iketani.
Iketani, that was it. So Jun Sato would have been your 11th. He's on the edges.
Yeah. So Jun Sato would. Hioki, I think, is the top 20, but I don't think he's top 10. I would have, some other people that I thought about. Obviously, there was crap. Well, now I'm forgetting what I was gonna say.
Hashimoto. I like.
Koji Hashimoto.
I don't think he just didn't compete enough.
Yeah, and that's the same. Like, I would say in my top 15, I have Kane Kazuki, and I couldn't justify him outside of the top 15 just because he only has 5 appearances.
You know, Kane did something, like he did like an interview or something apparently, where he was talking about Sasuke 4D, and that's where the conversation came up about him competing. But he said I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think he said absolutely no. But I think he said like it's unlikely that I will compete.
Yeah, he every time that he's ever asked about it, he's like, you never know. But
he always talks highly of Sasuke. He still talks highly of Sasuke is the big thing. It's clearly still a big thing for him.
Yeah. So it's always that weird part, and then other people as well that like obviously aren't top 10, but are worth recognizing. Like Daisuke Nakata is, I think, a top 20 competitor.
What about other
but-
foreign competitors? I actually, now that I've mentioned him, I actually think Jotchev could justify
I think he's a top
maybe
20.
being a top 20 competitor,
Yeah.
which is great.
Asaoka
Representing
as
the
well.
Europeans.
People forget that Asaoka was really good. back in the
Asioka
early
was
days.
good. Well,
Just
I think the problem with
inconsistent for a
Asioka,
while.
he only had, was it five or six stage 1 clears? Is the
Yeah.
one problem with Asioka. But the impressive thing, at least, with Asioka is he had a huge streak of failure. So, like, it's I think it makes it stand out a lot more if you don't compete for, like, you have success and then you have a streak of poor performances, but then you find a way to bounce back.
Yeah.
And I think Asioka's was one of the most impressive.
That was the thing about Kenji that was always interesting, is that he had that awful streak of consecutive failures, but then he ended up becoming what he did.
Actually, I didn't mention this about Kenji. How on earth, because it was all cut, we don't know, but how on earth, for such a speed demon, did he time out on Sasuke 22?
Yeah, I guess would probably either pick a really slow spider, or he just goofed up the wall a lot. Yeah, those are my only two potential.
Any other
theories.
foreign competitors? Like, where would you, if you had to take out the controversy of you know who, and you only judged him based on his record on Sasuke, I think you'd have to put him in the top 20.
No, he would have been a top 10. He would have been. I would have put him at 8 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think, actually.
Obviously. Yeah, just the amount of dominance that he's had.
Where's David Campbell fall on this list? For his, even though he's only got
top 30.
not even in the not even in the top 20. Not even in the top 30.
Not even in the top 30. No.
Just not enough appearances.
He's like just not enough appearances, only 2 stage 3s. Yeah,
I'm just trying to.
That's like Brian or Roscoe. Like Brian and Levi. I could make an argument for Levi being a top 25, but like Orozco is in a top 30.
No, Orozco, in my opinion, just didn't. Yeah, it was impressive the way he kept improving, but
yeah,
if you compare him to other Americans, whether it's on Sasuke or just off of A&W, I mean, if we were doing a list off of A&W competitors, you could argue Brian wouldn't even make it into the top 30 of A&W now. But that's difficult because there's just so many American competitors. There's so many good competitors.
Yeah, like you could still make the case for Levi being a top 10 A&W competitor, but I don't think you can make that with Brian.
No. It's a shame because Brian did seem like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. But like that was the thing too, like with Brian, like Rich King did better than him in Sasuke 23.
No, he didn't. I was going to say, no, technically Brian did do better than Rich King.
He got further, but Rich King actually had a chance of clearing the stage compared to Brian when he got to the unstable bridge.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, so we're going off on the tangent thinking about foreign competitors.
But no, I'm trying to think of any other like Japanese competitors that you could somehow make an argument for top 10. Like if you wanted to go just by final stages, Akira Omori.
Oh, you can't. I just don't think. Yes. If we were judging this off of just if Sasuke stopped after 12 tournaments or 17 tournaments or whatever, maybe you could make a case for Omori being in the top 10.
Yeah.
But across all of Sasuke and 39 tournaments now, there's just no way. Props to him.
Still competing
one of
the 30s.
one of 4 people to get to the final stage 3 times.
Yeah. And he's only one of 2 to do it 3 in a row.
Yep. Obviously, it helps the fact that it was on a course that was incredibly easy, but it was the easiest area of the course. But on the flip side of that, you could make the argument that he's a comedian. He's not an athlete, and he's still, you know, there's no
And
justification.
he was someone as well that, like Yamada, was already in his early 30s when Sasuke began. So he didn't really have a big window to continue that success post Sasuke 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I do actually really give him props for his 23 run.
Yeah, 23 run.
Even though he almost botched the first obstacle, speed has always actually been something that he's been half decent at. Like, even like when he did whichever tournament it was when he failed the TIE Fighter, he flew through the first 2 obstacles in that as well. Exactly, he's always been someone who's actually tried to go fast.
I think that's something too in terms of people underrate how strong he actually was, because in Tournament 2, 7 people failed the pipe slider, including Shingo, and he breezed
I think his light, he was probably like not very heavy.
Yeah.
I think that probably helped.
And then the stage
I would put it more down to that than his actual strength.
Not yet.
I think the fact he was a very light competitor.
Yeah, and that was in the era where stage 2 was the toughest stage, and with the 50-second time limit, he always did really well with it.
That's where Halo jumping's at now. That's why all these stage 2s are hard and I suck at them. It's because they're all but judging. It's because they're all basing them off of original Sasuke stage 2. That's my defense. That's why I suck on stage 2 now.
I still make the argument that Sasuke 5 has the hardest stage 2 out of any course, any tournament in
Extra
Sasuke.
obstacle, but still the same time limit, am I correct in saying?
And the tackle machine, the 110-pound tackle machine, that took about 10 seconds. And even though it was a shorter spider walk, you had to rush through that spider walk if you wanted to clear.
It's difficult to judge because you only saw one attempt. Because when Yamada and Takeda failed on the spider walk, not much time had gone. So it's still hard to judge. It's difficult to really properly judge because you've only got Shingo's run to go off of.
Yeah, because that was the thing too, though. Because like you had the spider walk with the moving panel, so that meant you couldn't go fast. Then you had to time the hammer dodge correctly. So then it was hard. But yeah. So how are we gonna do the top
I think
4?
that covers everything. So. Should we just like say the orders we've put them in and then talk about all 4 of them individually? I think that might be the easiest way of doing it.
I think that's best. So
you cover your 4 and then I'll say my 4.
All right. So my top 4 is Yuji, Takeda at number 3, Nagano at number 2, and Morimoto at number 1.
I'm pretty much switched and swapped really. Takeda is 4 for me. Yuji is 3. And then Yusuke is 2, and Nagano is number 1 for me. I'm actually a little bit of me is sort of happy that you put Nagano, that we have the number 1 being different, so we can make a case, we can make our own cases for each of them.
Yeah.
But let's go with Takeda and Yuji first.
All right. So with Yuji, I think the first ever 2-time champion. How can you put him at number 4 compared to someone who never made a final stage? And my thing is always that, he's been really great in terms of he got those 2 final stage appearances, and he has another final stage in 22. And he was incredibly close 2 other times getting to the vertical limit try and the pipe slider. But the things that just eat at me are the rolling hill fail, his warped wall struggles, his awful record on stage 2.
He's had a lot of botched attempts at stage across the course, his career.
In stage 1 and 2, he's just had so many appearances where he's looked awful. And that, like, the half pipe attack fail, the rolling hill fail, the warp wall struggles, the double salmon ladder fail, the backstream struggles. It's so much there that some of it is
some of those aren't his fault. I will say, like failing the backstream in.
Okay, I'll excuse the backstream.
The 29 one, a little less so in 30, but he's always struggled with the wall on stage 2, so that one is kind of a bit more his fault.
But like the double salmon ladder was rushing, the rolling hill, it looked like he just didn't want to be there. The half pipe attack, he looked like he just mentally wasn't able to handle the stage that tournament. It was just Yuji's someone who gets in his own head really easily, and that has shown a lot.
One of the things that's led him down is that, like, and from a production point of view, it must have been extremely difficult for them because we were discussing this yesterday in a party. Sasuke 40, I actually made the case, wouldn't it be a kind of oh shit moment if they put someone like a Tada as number 4000? And the argument I made was that Yusuke shouldn't have been 3000 in the first place. So
no, he shouldn't have been.
There's a case that you shouldn't make him 4000 now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to happen. But the reason I bring this up is because I think the production, the producers of Sasuke probably found themselves in a bit of a pickle during that era because Yuji had made it very clear he doesn't like being number 100 or being the last guy to go. He just can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, and I know like Nagano getting 3000 would have been nice, but honestly, he didn't really deserve 3000 either. He wasn't the most dominant person in those 10 tournaments.
Yeah,
I think that's
in reality, Yuji should have been 3000, but he just didn't want it. And so,
exactly.
I mean, how many times has Yuji has only been the last guy to go?
25 and 26.
Twice. Yeah, I was going to say he's had a few number 99s, quite a few now.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing too with Yuji is that it was weird for a long time before Yusuke got his double total victory and everything, where it was like Yuji was not really considered even a top 5 for a lot of people, and that he was just kind of like a guy who got lucky and dominated an era that was a little more inviting for a champion, but outside of that, never.
I was going to say, I will give him his credit because I think he's one of those people that he was extremely light, and that worked to his advantage.
Yeah.
I always remember there's a line from I can't believe this is the first time I've even mentioned this. I was going to mention it with Shingo's wall lift fail when you brought it up. This is the first time I've mentioned the UK edit, the UK commentary. Great commentary. You know what, I'll just say it actually. Shingo's wall fail when he gets his foot stuck. He's running out of time. The third wall. Oh, he's trapped underneath. He's trapped. Oh, he's got his foot. He's trapped and he's got his foot trapped. The commentator's voice just goes up a decibel or two.
Yeah, but my thing with Yuji was that I feel like for a while people were saying that he was closer to Akiyama in terms of result-wise than Nagano.
I guess it's difficult when you have a comparison like that. If you've only got a choice between Akiyama and Nagano, then I would say yes. But you're comparing him to the person who was at the time, and in some people's eyes, including mine, still is the greatest competitor of all time that you're comparing him to, and that's almost an unfair comparison. Sorry, the line I was going to mention before I talked about Shingo and his foot was after he clears stage 1 in Sasuke 25, the UK commentator was just like, he was something along the lines of like he looks like he doesn't have an ounce of muscle on him. He's the kind of guy who makes you think anyone could beat this course, and that's kind of actually more true or more accurate than people realize, is that he does look like, obviously he has got strength, but it massively helps that he's a very light competitor.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of person that clearly he was part of that group that really consistently trained for the obstacles, and he just was able to bring it together in ways that other competitors weren't, combined with the fact that he was incredibly light. And definitely had more strength than I think people give him credit for.
Yeah,
I think is the thing. I do agree with you. The reason why he's number I did say he's the reason why he's number 3 for me is because of his 2 total victories. In my opinion, I think he'd done enough getting 2 wins. He just couldn't be any higher because of the 2 guys that are ahead of him, and also the fact that he's got a lot of botched runs, especially in that 32, yeah, 31 to 33 especially. The big thing is, for me always, when I think about Yuji, is would he have actually retired after 34 if he failed?
I think it's likely.
Which would have been incredibly sad if he had. And I'm really glad. That's actually one of the that's one of probably the big high points for me about modern Sasuke, is the fact that he got that stage 1 clear. He chose not to give up. And the fact that he has honestly improved his career, or improved people's opinions of him since 34. You know, those 2 stage 3 attempts. I can't think of his modern record. He failed the warped wall in 35. Stage 3's in 36 and 37. Stage 2 in 38, and then it was the warped wall in the last tournament.
Yep.
And I remember 35. I always remember with his warped wall fail in 35, he knew he could have beaten it. He just made a simple. He just gassed out.
Yeah. My thing though too, like, I think if he had retired in 34, if he failed stage 1, he would have been like number 8 or 9 on my list, probably. Which I know
actually, hang on, sorry. You know, I kind of misheard that. If he retired in 34, he would have been that much lower. So you reckon?
Yeah. I think he saved his legacy post 34.
Yeah. His what, 4 stage 1 clears since then has helped get him way higher up the list.
He showed that he can still dominate, especially at an older age, which was incredibly impressive to me.
We brought up mindsets, mindsets earlier with Shingo, and I think a lot of it is also to do with Yuji. I think a lot, even though consistency has been a big problem for him, but I think a lot of the problems with consistency also comes down to his poor mindset with a lot of runs.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think actually that's part of the reason why since 34, I think he has taken a different mindset to it all. Because I think when he failed the warped wall in 35, he knew he could beat it. Oh shit! Have I got it? Oh god, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm going to get I'm going to get these freaking bears their Christmas presents 3 times now. Sorry. Yeah, I think.
But yeah, with Yuji and then comparing him to Takeda, my big thing that it's kind of like how Yuji boosted him up. I think Takeda, outside of obviously having the most stage 1 clears, being the most stage 3 appearances, his consistently great record in stage 1 and 2. His stage 3s, even though he's never beaten it, he's gotten consistently far. His only real bad appearances were 6 and 11. I think the thing that really separated him was not only his dominance in stage 1 and 2 and how he was so great in the early eras of Sasuke, it's the post eras of Sasuke, like where it was the Shin Sasuke. He was the best all-star in the Shin Sasuke era, and then he's been the best all-star post Sasuke 27. And I think him continuously beating stage 1 at his age, at a time where Nagano was severely declining, it felt like Takeda was consistently strong and good, and that he still had that dedication to the course, where it felt like, obviously he wasn't going to win anymore, but you could almost mark him down as someone who could easily beat stage 1, and I think that's something that longevity was so big for me.
He could do it, like he was able to do what Shingo couldn't. Like Shingo competes for fun, still does, and maybe we'll always wonder, could I beat stage 1 in this tournament?
Yeah.
Takeda was able to do all of that and still clear stage 1 a few times, including, of course, the disgrace that was 38, the travesty, to see your career end like that. Ugh.
Yeah, that was that. He in my book, he has 20 stage 1 clears.
And again, as a guy who has 20 stage 1 clears on a course, I think it was incredibly disappointing that he couldn't have been the first person to get to that. I mean, and he's going to have these records. Like, I don't know who the next best is. Like, I don't know who the next best is that's still competing on stage 2 and stage 3.
But I think if you made a list in terms of like top 10 unbeatable Sasuke records, I think Takeda's amount of stage 1 clears, and I would even say stage 3 appearances would be in there, and I think his stage 1 clear record would be like a top 3.
I mean, yeah, 19 stage 1 clears, and surely the next best is still like it's still Nagano and Shingo, I reckon.
Shingo, I believe, has more than Nagano, but I think Shingo's at 16, if I remember correctly.
Is it?
Yeah.
13, wait, 13... 14. Oh yeah, he is at 16, yeah.
Yeah. So, he's still pretty far away. He'd have to clear 4 straight tournaments to break the record. Which I don't think is happening.
And if we think about, we've mentioned a few people that have got 10 stage 1 clears. Jun Sato and Hyoki. I don't know how many Yusuke's got now, but like none of these guys are even close to breaking his record. Is the point I'm making? Is like Takeda's going to have this record
for a long time.
A long time.
And that's even with the stage 3 as well. 13 stage 3s. That's going to be incredibly hard for anyone to beat.
Yeah. I just, as a guy that has based his jumping career off of being consistent, I will always give props to Takeda, even though I've only put him at 4, behind Yuji.
Yeah.
He's just an incredible competitor for someone that also is essentially your average Joe. You know, he's a firefighter. So, what the hell? Oh shit! Oh shit! I fucked up again. Being a firefighter probably helps. His job helped him with his Sasuke career, but you know, it's
that's
not
always
like
one of the biggest what ifs of Sasuke is that if he ever made a final stage with his abilities as a firefighter, how would he have won?
I think that's actually one of those mysteries that I just can't imagine. Like, I just don't even want to imagine it because I don't know. Because you don't know. Anything could happen. He could be, because he's never been like, he's never been insane. He's been able to pull out fast runs, but he's never been insanely fast.
Takeda for a while did. Takeda for a little bit had the speed record from like I think
That's
14
true.
to
That's
14
true.
to 27. But
Oh,
that
I
was
forgot
also
about that.
Sasuke 14. That course was kind of a joke.
You kind of ruined. You kind of botched my argument there by pointing that out. I actually had forgotten that. The only run I could think of was he got the fastest time in Sasuke 16. I completely forgot about. And actually, you know, I take it all back. Actually,
he cleared
was quite
one
quick.
stage 2 with like 19 seconds. I think that was Sasuke 11. He cleared one stage 2 with like an
Sasuke
obnoxious
21.
amount of time.
He cleared stage 1. He cleared stage 1 with the second fastest time, and I'm pretty sure he cleared stage 2 with over 25 seconds in Sasuke 21.
Yeah.
You know what? I take it back. He would have been great on the final stage.
Yeah. So, with that, we gotta go to our last 2 competitors, and I think this is out of any 2 competitors on the list, this is the closest that any 2 are comparable to each other. I think the others.
There's a case to be made for both.
Yeah. So with Nagano, obviously most final stage appearances, tied most stage 1 appearances in a row. Most stage 1 clears in a row for consecutive appearances. It's obviously one of the most impeccable records of any Sasuke competitor. His stage 2 record's incredible. His stage 3 performances are great. Especially with Yusuke getting a second total victory now, that separates Yusuke just a little bit, is that I think Nagano's longevity is a little overrated in the sense that after 18, he was never consistent, and it already looked like he was declining. 19 and 20, he looked really out of it. 21 he would have probably made the final stage, and it looked like a resurgence. Unfortunately, the obstacle sucked. 22 was another fallback. 20, yeah. 23 showed again that he has this greatness, but he just couldn't get it consistently. And then post 24,
actually, can I just say actually with 23, there is definitely the point that has to be made that he probably would have won. In fact, he would have won, wouldn't he? If the time limit hadn't been changed.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
I think the shock of his 24 fail snapped something in him. I think something in him like sort of broke after that 24 fail, and that's the point. His lack of his loss of consistency definitely, I agree, started to show after 19. But he was still able to pull out good runs. I think the reason why people didn't care in those early days was because the All-Stars were still considered the best competitors.
Well, that was
and it wasn't until
there was no real rival to Nagano still, and he was still the best, even though like he struggled in 19 and 20. People still knew that he was the best guy, and there was no one that was the guy.
Yeah.
That was other
after
than
22 is the first time people would have started to question Nagano's.
Yeah, and it was like 23. It looked like people like were back to Nagano being the guy after his performance, and that 24 was gonna be the time that he was gonna win a second time. And then I think it was both a combination of Nagano was someone as well, like outside of Sasuke, like yeah, he trains a lot, but he's also like a heavy chain smoker, drinker. Like he's someone that never really took care of his own body, and his age and body started catching up to him. He started feeling more pressure to compete because for the sake of competing, he didn't really compete very well. And that's something that, compared to other people, I'm gonna hold to, I guess, a little bit of a higher standard for Nagano. Because he's someone that I feel like if he retired after, say, 28, he would be the #1 competitor. I think
that's what I was gonna say. Did he stay? Did he outstay his welcome?
I think he stayed too long. Yeah.
With 27, I think most people that watched it live and most people who watched it like on whatever it was, the G4 edit, or after the tournament came out, or whenever they became a Sasuke fan, I feel like most people would have looked at that 27 run and felt like this is going to be his last great stand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you could almost tell that it was.
Well, that was the thing that Shingo was saying during the stage 3 run. It's like he might as well enjoy it while he's here, after he beat the flying bar.
Yeah.
Because like looking at the ultimate cliffhanger, like Nagano, like he had no confidence that he was gonna beat the ultimate cliffhanger.
He did. I don't think he would have beaten the stage. Even if he cleared the ultimate cliffhanger, I don't think he would have beaten the stage.
I think the farthest he gets is the chain seesaw.
But yeah, it's just for me. It's still, in my opinion. I will admit it's incredibly close. It was incredibly close to me choosing between the two of them. Yeah. But I actually also think this goes. I think aside from records, it goes beyond that when it comes to Nagano. I think the reality is when people think of Ninja, you just almost always think of Nagano as he's the first name you think of. He's almost like and some people's eyes he still is the face of Ninja. That's the reason for me he's still #1. It's probably the same argument as to why some people still hold Yamada in such high regard.
No, yeah, I think that's something too where it's like the legacy impact of Nagano. Nagano kind of defined how someone should act in Ninja and like how they should compete, and like with the character and the attitude and the excitement that he carried throughout it, and the love and the passion. And I think that's something that is so vital and so important. That is a long-standing legacy, but I think it's one of those hard things to really like say that that's a reason why someone deserves to be #1, if that makes sense. Because I think that's something that's kind of outside of, like, I guess when you like, it's hard to judge someone like a character trait saying that that's a reason why they're number one, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I do get it. Again, maybe it's harsh to judge on personality, but I feel like the reason why Nagano is still considered by many people the face of Ninja is because he has such a loving personality.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I know you don't follow professional basketball in America, but there's always the big argument of whether Michael Jordan or LeBron James is the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
And it's always like people will point out to like either personality things they had or like how big of a definition they have or defined the sport. There's like Michael Jordan defined what basketball is going to be like in the 80s and 90s and moving forward into the new century. It's like LeBron James kind of characterized like what a basketball player can do with like almost unlimited potential. And that's kind of with me, like with Yusuke. I think Yusuke, being someone who's still incredibly young, still has so much time left, already has so many final stages, incredibly consistent overall. His only 2 stage 1 failures since he came back were rain-soaked warp walls, which you can't really hold too high or too hard against them. It's one of those things where like his stage 3s, he's never failed a cliffhanger. And these are the hardest cliffhangers ever. And that's something that's crazy to me. His 4 final stages, and he nearly won in all 4 of them. It's just something to me that it's like, how many more times can Yusuke win? And it's almost like it's...
I do. This is actually an argument that I think some people could make is kind of a problem with Sasuke right now, is that the courses are too. The courses are set up too much to the point that it's like Yusuke is the only person that can win. But
yeah,
in the
it's kind of
like. Go on. Yeah, sorry.
No, so like it's something where it's like they are making a course not so that everyone could win, but to stop Yusuke from winning. And that's something that like that just happens. I think that's something that we've seen a lot in like ninja stuff, like whether that's here in Halo as well, where like a lot of people are like Fireball's obviously our best jumper, and it's like how do we stop Fireball from winning? And that's something that like it's not a bad thing, but it's just a different philosophy of stylizing a course.
Personally, I do think it is maybe a little bit of a problem with Sasuke right now, and I will admit I'm a little bit concerned that. In your opinion, would you say Sasuke the way it is now is better? Like the current era of Sasuke is better than like the previous eras we've had. A couple of like the last 2 eras we've had. You know, Shin Sasuke and Sasuke Rising.
I think the Sasuke Rising era was very good. My thing with this era that I have a little bit of an issue with is that, you're right, I think the only way you could stop Yusuke is that if you brought back the cliffhanger into vertical limit combo, but then no one's gonna win.
Yeah. I just think, I think something's been lost. Like, the Shin Sasuke era, for me, it's maybe not my favorite era, or it's maybe not the best era of Sasuke, but some people would consider it the best era in terms of competition.
I think right now, I think Sasuke's kind of lost the idea of anyone can win. It's more of anyone that puts in the effort and practice and the exact dedication can win. Like, the first 17, and hell, I didn't even say the first 24 tournaments. You could have some guy just show up and just get to stage 3, and that was awesome. And I think that's something that no random person can just show up. Like, we've had people like, now I'm forgetting his name, the guy who's beaten stage 1 the last 3 tournaments. And that's great, but it's like, those people are becoming rare and rare.
Talking about Yamamoto, or...?
The actor. The actor,
Koji. Yeah. He was... Yeah. Well, yeah, he was going to be the case... I was going to make the case that there's actually sort of a massive imbalance right now, because I think stage 1 is imbalanced in the fact that you could get randos beat that stage, but then
stage 2 you're not really we had
stage 2 is a killer for randos and anyone who's not prepared, and then stage 3 just takes a massive jump up in difficulty,
No, yeah, I think stage 3 is almost at a point where it's too hard, but you can't make it any easier though. That's the problem.
Well, that's the thing. I think the problem now is that there's, and this is where it's perhaps become a problem from Sasuke Rising, is that
Yeah.
everything's been put on the cliffhanger, and now there's
Yeah,
not
I
enough.
don't like that.
This stage 3, I have to say, was a bit of a breath of fresh air because
Yeah,
it's the
having the
first
swing
time in
edge.
forever that we've had a stage 3 where people struggled to get to
To the
the
cliffhanger.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, because like the only other time we had that was 33, and that was because the flying bar and the rain made it hard, not because the obstacles themselves were hard. Yeah. But
Um,
I think you can still make a very like I think the perfect example of a great third stage is Sasuke 13 through 17. I think having 8 very challenging obstacles that are all hard on their own merit, and having them in that row in the order that they had them was so perfect. And I would say even up until 24, they had a really good formula. And I think going into 25, when they had the ultimate cliffhanger, that's when they started getting a little too reliant on the cliffhanger and not the rest of the stage.
I actually think 25 and 26, in my opinion, is still... I mean, might actually still be considered the hardest stage 3s ever, because whilst the cliffhanger was massively OP'd, I do actually think not enough credit goes to how tough the rest of the stage was. Like, how
The
much
roulette
did those...
cylinder and doorknob grasp were so hard.
Yeah.
And then the floating
much,
boards is such an underrated obstacle.
how much energy and strength did you lose off of the first 3 obstacles in those 2 tournaments?
Yeah, exactly. And like in 26, they kind of nerfed it with the cycle road, but even then, like it was still hard.
Yeah.
And then 27, they just did an entire joke. The arm bike and flying bar is the
They
two
shit the
obstacles.
bed. Like, the flying bar is tough, but the arm bike... Yeah, it's just, you know, it's the arm bike... I love the arm bike for its just randomness and in the history of Sasuke, but...
Yeah.
No.
It's just weird how it's been in 8 tournaments, no one's failed it, and it's just had weird appearances, like in 18 when it showed up as the second obstacle. But yeah, I think, like, what's it called? I was thinking, like, in 30 and 31, they finally got it really well. Where, like, in 30, they had the Rumbling Dice, Iron Paddler, and Drum Hopper before the cliffhanger. And I thought that was good. I think the problem in that stage was the back half, where the Vertical Limit and Pipe Slider, there should have been more obstacles. But yeah, anyway, go a little off topic, but yeah, I think with Yusuke, there is that unlimited potential sense still. And it's something where it's like, obviously this could change depending on how Yusuke does the rest of his career. But I think Yusuke, in the amount of time that he's competed, and the consistency and overall dominance that he's had, because it's funny, because like we've had all of these great competitors as well, but I don't think anyone can make an argument for anyone else being a top jumper. Like I think like
Top competitor.
yeah,
Jumper.
like Kawaguchi was there for a little bit. Tada is kind of climbing up the ranks. But there's really, yeah, Yamamoto. Yeah, if Yamamoto is able to make a final stage, but like Yusuke is just so dominant, and I
think this is part of the. Like, it's difficult for me. Like it's not one of those situations where like it's like, oh, he'll never be number 1 in my eyes. Like I'll never go that far. But like he'll always have that thing on the back of him where like, oh yeah, if he dominates and he wins, but he's doing it on a course that, in my opinion, it's just not as good as it used to be, and like it's almost like to his benefit in a way. Like the course, yes, the course has been designed to try and stop him, but he's still managing to beat it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not fair on him, I will admit that, but that's just sort of where Sasuke is right now, and it's sort of disappointing. If he wins again, then I think, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where I will always accept Nagano's #1, but I will only accept it because he's just such a big part of Sasuke for me when I started getting into it.
No, definitely.
But that takes nothing away from Yusuke's success and accomplishments. I just think his accomplishments, it's just skewed because it's happened in an era of Sasuke where he's the only person who really dominates properly anymore. And it's on a course which is massively imbalanced, in my opinion.
No, it is. It definitely is.
But yeah, that takes nothing away from his accomplishments and his success.
Yeah.
His consistency as well, I have to say as well. Do you think how long he went, not failing stage 1?
No, definitely. And it's the only stage 1 fails are just because of the rain. Like, you can't really fault him for those fails.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, that does conclude it.
I was going to say, that's our top 10.
Yeah.
I suppose we could really just now talk about a variety of things, including actually Sasuke 40 itself. Like, thoughts and opinions on it.
I'm really excited. I know a lot of people didn't like 39, but I personally really enjoyed it. I had a great time with the stage. I think it got better. I think stage 2, I know the biggest complaint for people is that they nerfed stage 2, and I would argue that stage 2 was just as hard. People failed obstacles, and we got a great stage 3 out of it. And
stage 3 was the best thing. Stage 3 saved the tournament for me.
I personally really liked stage 1 as well. I gotta say, I liked stage 1.
For me, I gotta say, personally, I gotta say, not enough changes for a renewal. And the only reason it ended up being maybe the stage 1 it was because of the rain.
That's fair. I think the one thing that I did really like, though, was the small editing thing they did in terms of fast-forwarding Tada as the last clear and making it look like there'll be more clears. I thought that was a really cool way to subvert expectations, and I thought that was a really clever thing that I hope they kind of do again.
Yeah, I sort of half get it, but I do think some people find it very confusing. It's like, how can you double... Like, if you fast-forward him on one of his runs, I could get it. But, like, a lot of people were like, how on earth are you double fast-forwarding your first-place performer?
Yeah. That is fair. Yeah, I think, what's it called? I'm excited for Sasuke 40, not just for the obstacles, but I also want to know the number placement. I know this probably won't happen, but in my opinion, it should be a celebration of Sasuke for how long it's been. It's nearly its 25th anniversary, and you gotta do things to celebrate that. And I personally think you have to do the most memorable contestants as the top people. And obviously, I think Shinko should be 4,000 to commemorate his 40th appearance. Put Nagano at 99. Put Nagano at 99. Yamada at 98, and then Yusuke and Yuji at 97, 96.
Yeah, I tell you what, that would be a massive surprise. You know, we mentioned earlier about should somebody that's not Yusuke be 4,000 to make it the fact that he shouldn't have been 3,000. And I just kept saying Tada, but actually it would be crazy.
Shingo having his 40th appearance as 4,000 would just be incredible.
That's crazy. The fact that it's a huge milestone for me, being the only person in all of Smokey's tournaments, and I'm at 24. And he's at friggin' 40. 25 years!
Yep. It's insane.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. 25 years of your life and you've never missed. There's a television program in this country which I watch, which covers the news, and it's been going for 32 years. It's like a weekly news analysis thing. It's like they take the mick out of stuff that's in the news, like the government or celebrities or whatnot. It's a panel show sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the two people, like the two team captains. What the hell is this? I don't even remember this. The two team captains on it, apart from for like 1 year, have been on the show the entire history of it for 32 years.
Wow.
Like one of the team captains had a year out and just missed like the odd episode through illness and stuff. But the other team captain, who's this old guy who's like a journalist and stuff, has never missed an episode in 32 years. And there's a story, I think, of there's a story of it, like 1 year, one episode, he was in hospital because he had to like have like, I can't remember what it was. Like it's not like had your what's that thing you have taken out in your stomach?
Appendix.
Appendix, yeah. It wasn't that, but it was something like that.
Oh, okay.
He was in hospital for an operation to take something out like that, and he checked himself out for a couple of hours just to go and film an episode.
Yeah.
And this is a weird comparison, I'll admit, but comparing it to Shingo, who has been 25 years of his life. Doing something that, from a physical point of view, there's got to have been times when he, especially with that shoulder of his, like he must have thought on a few occasions of giving up and quitting.
No, definitely, especially when he wasn't competing well. I do love the one interview that he had where he was talking about, like, someone asked him if he'd ever retire, and he's like, as long as I can walk, I'll compete.
I mean, you gotta love stuff like that.
So, I just imagine Shingo one day where he can't walk, he just drives his wheelchair straight into the water on the first Sasuke.
Oh god, no, hang on a minute. That's something I don't want to see. Look, and unless they retire Sasuke, I just want to see Shingo.
No, yeah.
Keep seeing Shingo.
Shingo's awesome.
I'm trying to think, if he's not given 4,000, what realistically?
Yeah.
What's the number that Shingo deserves? Because he was 92 in Sasuke 30, which was a bit of a random number in itself, but at least it was a pretty high number.
Yeah. He deserves a number in the 90s, at the very least.
Maybe we should play a little game of who should be the last 10 runners. Because a lot of this actually brings us on to a different question. There's no foreigners, but how cool, or who would be the guy that we'd love to see back? Or competitors, plural, that we'd love to see back for a one-off appearance in this tournament?
Well, for, like, international or any competitor?
No, just Japanese, because it looks like international competitors aren't going to compete.
Again. I'd love to see Kane back. I'd love to see Bunpei or Akiyama come back one more time. Ikatani coming back would be fun. Takahashi coming back. There's a lot of people that I would love to see return one more time. And I don't care how they do, I just like to see them compete.
There's some genuine debate of if Nagano's son competing, because he's 13 now. But like genuine debate about it.
If they ran, they'd have, like, if he ran in 40, I'd love them to be, like, back-to-back. I think that would be really fun.
Well, that would be difficult then, because you'd obviously have a young kid either in the 90s, or you'd have to have Nagano a lot lower than where he would deserve to be, or...
Yeah. Whatever happened to the... What's it called? The guy that Nagano was training, that other fisherman. He competed a couple times and stopped
competing. Yeah, he cleared stage 1 twice and then failed the Dragon Glider in 35, and then we've not seen him since.
Yeah.
Just seemed, yeah. I mean, that's the debate with a lot of these guys, isn't it? Though, it's like what happened to them.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of people I'd love to see come back. Noria Tajima would be fun to have come back since he hasn't competed in a long time.
Shit,
Like, we had some random people come back sometimes we had the Sasuke Sensei come back. The guy in Sasuke 7 who cleared Stage 1. That guy in Sasuke 7 who cleared Stage 1.
Yeah.
Had the guy who was like the Bruce Lee guy come back.
That was great, that was in Sasuke 30.
Yeah. God, the fact that he nearly cleared in 11 was always like... That's something people forget too. He competed in the first 11 tournaments.
Did he not miss a tournament?
Not in the first 11.
Huh.
Because it was like him... The Japanese Superman guy only... He did the first 10 tournaments before he stopped. But yeah, Bruce Lee did 11, and then after Yamada stopped competing in 12, Shingo was the last guy to have a perfect record. And he still had it. Yeah, that's... Sasuke moving forward is going to be interesting.
Oh, this is bad. I've forgotten how to... How do you go invincible? Press right on the right stick. Huh.
But yeah, it's I think that's all we got for today, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I'm trying to think of... I don't want to finish the video off by being killed by mummies. Kind of want to finish this level, but that would require us to keep talking about stuff. What's going on in your life, Puma?
You know, things are going pretty solid. I'm in grad school now, which is weird to think because I started jumping when I was in 10th grade, so I'm old. And besides that,
at the end of this year, it's going to be 10 years since I first competed on Smokey's course.
Jeez, yikes! Smokey's course going 10 years. That's wow. I've been there for 8 of them. Jesus Christ.
What? I don't know what... Have I got no gold? I've got gold feathers. Why can't I go invincible? What button makes you go invincible? I'm gonna get murdered by mummies.
I think that's a fitting way to end the video, honestly.
I don't want to get murdered by mummies.
I think it'd be funny.
Yeah, but I'm like halfway through a level. That would kind of suck. Let me read it again.
Oh, well.
Hold LT or RT and press right on the right stick. Use the left stick to... Press right on the right stick. What? Oh!
Hunter's figuring it out. He's got it, potentially.
Oh, these mummies were weak. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, life's alright, I guess. I don't know when I'm gonna host another tournament. I feel like I'm at this point where I'm not gonna host another tournament on Halo 5. I feel like it's gonna be infinite now, but nobody knows when infinite is going to be a thing.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that's a struggle too, where it's like, do you just keep waiting to see eventually, or do you just eventually just like say screw it and host one more?
But it's just the problem is a lack of clarity. Is like we've been we've got these sort of like timelines that they keep giving us, but like we don't actually know for certain when all these, you know, when stuff's gonna happen or when stuff's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Everyone's still saying, like, I think September is what people are saying about...
Yeah, that's still a good while.
Well, no, but I just don't think... Oh, sorry, maybe September is like a beta.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't either.
I personally, I feel like we would have heard something by now. Or, like,
yeah.
If we haven't heard something by now, then we've got to be hearing something very, very, very soon.
Definitely.
RTX is in... Oh, no, not RTX. What is it? E3. E3's coming up soon. It's got to be something at that, if there is going to be an announcement of some kind.
Yeah, it has to.
Oh, a little bit of me wishes Irish was here right now, because I've been wanting to talk to him about this Saudi Arabia Gulf thing that's been
If you're
You probably
interested
don't
in
know.
talking to Sonic fan, we could have him as a guest.
Oh God.
We can
What
have
can we
him as
talk
a
to
guy who
Sonic? Oh
reacts.
yeah, we could talk about how everyone hates the new Sonic game that's apparently going to come out.
We can have him react to our lists. That'd be
Oh
interesting.
God.
Sonic, you're a part of our podcast now.
We actually, my notifications aren't on. That's
We're filming a podcast of we're doing our top 10 Sasuke competitors of all time.
Oh, I don't know Sasuke well enough. I shouldn't be a part of this.
Oh.
I'm gonna say
Well-
right off the bat.
Well, we had you
guess-
here to react to our lists, but I guess we won't be needing your services anymore.
I guess that means I should probably leave the party.
That's nah.
No, Hunter wants to talk to you about Sonic real quick.
Yeah, everyone hates
Does
this
he?
new Sonic game that's coming out. Whatever it's called, Sonic Frontiers or whatever.
Frontiers? Yep.
Everyone hates it, and I don't really know why.
People are concerned because animations look very clunky. Basically, it looks like a very clunky, mediocre game, and it's been in development for 5 years. We haven't had a Sonic game since 2017, and the one that people aren't liking what we're seeing right now. So people are getting very concerned, which is, of course, since it's a Sonic franchise game, leading to wars on Twitter.
We love that. We love that.
The Sonic, I have to say, the Sonic fan base is very difficult to please.
That is true. I think it's okay. From what we've seen so far, I haven't really been keeping all too much track of the new stuff that they've been showing. I think ultimately it'll be an okay game, but I don't know. I think Flame has more accurate opinions on what the fan base thinks.
Let's get Flame in here. No, just I don't know if it's on. There's a game there. I'm obviously a massive Resident Evil fan, and I don't know what it was, like PlayStation event or something, released a trailer for the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is something that's been talked about. It might happen for a little while now.
Yeah.
And they released a trailer. In some people's eyes, including my own, Resident Evil 4 is the best Resident Evil game, and also one of the best games of all time. So, there is a justification for why it's considered the best, one of the best games of all time. People argue that third-person shooters are the way they are because of Resident Evil 4. It's a game that pushed the boundaries, or set the boundaries for how a third-person shooter
would work.
plays. Yeah. Oh, it was one of the first games to do it, and do it successfully. I just love it because it's a fucking great game, ignoring the third-person side of it.
Yeah. I have not really. I haven't touched Resident Evil like as a series. It's something.
It's got some great games. It's got some bad games. It's got some very iffy games. Puma, didn't you once play Resident Evil 6 or something?
That was my only experience, and I had
The
a bad
worst
time.
Resident Evil game. That's in the main series. There's a few like spin-off games that are even worse than that game, but.
There's because isn't it that you spent like 15 hours in parties playing? Is that Village or whatnot? Is that like considered a mainline?
Village is an alright game. Village is the werewolves getting eaten by werewolves.
Sure.
Village is an alright game. Village came out last year. It's an alright game. Too many. When it first was announced and when it originally came out, like the early weeks when it came out, everyone thought it was just a rip-off of RE4 because it looked very similar.
Yeah.
It played very similar. Like Resident Evil 4 starts off in an iconic like village setting in the middle of nowhere. Resident Evil Village is called Resident Evil Village. And starts off in a village. After you get past the village section in RE4, you go into this giant castle. Resident Evil Village. the second act of the game. You go into a giant castle. With the 8-foot vampire lady that everyone on the internet
everyone lost
had a boner for.
Mind over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Ah! Sorry. Oh, this is but I'm really excited for this game. You know what I need to do? I'm gonna say it on this podcast that's like a stream, but it's not a stream. I need to learn how to stream.
On our live streams?
I was
just saying, I've never bothered to learn any of that stuff, like YouTube, Twitch, just none of it. And I feel like if I actually bothered to learn.
YouTube works, but Twitch is really easy for that stuff.
Oh my god, I just literally did that. You. Oh my god. Is this the puzzle thing? Yeah, I just always assumed if I streamed, I would do it through YouTube because Smokey's done it.
On YouTube.
Yeah, my channel's on YouTube, and Smokey has learned how to do it.
Your YouTube.
And in fact, yeah,
so
you probably get more.
Smokey.
Well, you see, I could have asked Sane as well, and I've just never bothered to.
Yeah.
Oh shit! This is actually quite hard.
Oh
Fun
no!
little challenge. I don't know. It's I've got like a thing open on my desk on my like internet, like a tab open that's sort of like how to stream, and still never bothered to learn.
You've had that tab there for like 5 months.
Oh, there's a ton of shit. I've still got like the page open to download the Sasuke tournaments, and I got up to Sasuke 32, and then I stopped. So I've got this tab open for Sasuke 33 to download that.
Yeah, that's my thing. I have never really looked into like how, because I know like I've heard from other people it's like hard, but I've never really looked into like how and where to watch the Sasuke tournaments.
Puma, got an answer to that? I know you don't like that Bilibili. I know you hate that Bilibili website for watching Sasuke tournaments. The Chinese.
I have all my Sasuke tournaments, so I'm good.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I
got.
What?
Yeah.
Off of what?
What's these hidden sources that I'm not aware of?
I'll tell you later. I don't want to reveal on stream.
Oh, divulging secrets
right now.
No,
we're not live. Sorry, I jokingly said it's a stream that's not a stream. It's just a simplistic podcast.
I see.
Yeah, I have my ways to getting tournaments, but I don't want to divulge them.
Okay. First thing once we're off stream, we'll cover that. But I found there's Bilibili, which there used to be another website that had Sasuke tournaments, and then that sort of just like stopped being a thing.
Yeah. They got deleted out of existence.
I can't remember what happened to it. And then there's Bilibili, which is the Chinese website, which I've assured Puma is safe to use. My laptop has enough scanners and trackers and things on it that tells me about pop-ups and malicious.
What website did you say?
Yeah.
Bilibili?
Bilibili, yeah. That has, but even that's had like tournaments taken off of there. It's like there were tournaments that were there that aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And then eventually I managed to find a website that I can't remember the name of it, even though I've got it open right now. Where you can't watch the tournaments, but you can download them all, and that's where I've been. But it's only from it. It's only got the Japanese edits from 28 onwards. Anything that's got before.
You can download the tournaments and do what with them? Watch them from the download, or
yeah, watch them. Like, you download them like you would download a YouTube video or something.
Gotcha.
How do you think? I mean, it's like when you get this footage. It's like how any course host. Oh shit! I'm trapped in a maze. It's like how any course host, downloads stuff off of other people's courses for profiles and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you get that stuff? You download it off YouTube.
I take your tournaments and download them.
So you know what? This scary music's playing. I don't even know what I'm doing. Am I gonna get like murdered when this time limit runs out or something?
Perhaps.
If you could hear this music right. If you could hear this spooky music they're trying to play right now. Oh shit. Maybe
you
if
have
I just
6
get
minutes to finish your podcast, Hunter.
Why? What's in 6 minutes?
I'm joking.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It was funny, I promise.
I get you're trying to be. So I was gonna say, you've never played Banjo Kazooie?
Yeah, I've never played Banjo Kazooie or any of its
This is
series.
a great game. This is a friggin' great game.
Isn't it about like a bear and a chicken or something?
A bear and a bird, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Close enough. Close enough.
It's bear and bird. Wow, 2 jiggies for the price of 1. This game is one of 3 in a trilogy, but we don't count the 3rd game. It doesn't exist. It's
Nuts and Bolts isn't terrible.
Have you played all 3 of these games, or have you only played Nuts and Bolts?
I played Nuts and Bolts and Banjo Kazooie. I've never played
Wait, I'm
Banjo
trapped in here
2.
again? Oh, you've never played Banjo 2? Okay, well that's alright.
Yeah,
Banjo 2 is a long game.
Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie were different series, and I was just losing my mind because I would be like, because I like watch videos on it and stuff that looked interesting. I was like, what is this? What are these 2 different series with the same character? I don't know. I couldn't get across that it was supposed to be like a dumb
The same
joke.
game.
Yeah.
That's a real Dumbo moment.
My thinking right now is I'm going to finish this level I'm in right now, then I'm going to go and collect these 2 more jiggies that I have to collect in the main world, and then I'll start the stream.
Okay.
Yeah, Banjo Tooie, the premise of this game is this evil witch named Grunty kidnaps your sister because she wants to suck the life out of your sister to make herself beautiful again, because she's an ugly witch. I don't know what happens when the clock hits 0 here. Do I die? Oh my god! I'm dead! What the?
Oh no.
Oh my god! That's the that's the creepiest shit.
Hunter just got murdered.
I just got like it forced me into a first person where Banjo looks up at the roof and like these ancient spikes is like where the roof closes in on you and there's spikes on the roof and you get crushed by the spikes.
Yeah.
It just did that to me, but it forces you into first person to look at it.
Huh.
That's funny.
It's creepy
It
as
makes you
shit.
stare directly into your mistakes.
I've stared into death.
That's great. We love it.
I hope I got
I'm a
everything
big
in
fan.
that room. I really hope I got everything in that room. Because I ain't going back.
Give me room.
Anyway, yeah, so your sister gets kidnapped and it's up to Banjo and his bird friend Kazooie that he lives with to go and save her. And the premise of the game is you travel through Grunty the Witch's lair. And it's like this...
Okay.
You travel through her lair, and within the lair is all these like different worlds and stuff, basically.
Sane wants an invite.
Yes, actually, I could talk to Sane about. I was going to mention that he sent me a party invite. We talked to him about RE4. Yeah, you travel through all these worlds, and you have to collect shit and stuff like that. It's like your basic adventure game style thing. Yeah, this is a Nintendo game in the 90s, so it's not very. It's simplistic in concept. It's very cool. It stands out because the gameplay is great. The camera kind of sucks, but the gameplay is great. The worlds really all stand out. And the final part of the game is great as well, because when you finally get to the end of the lair, or to the top of the tower, or the top of the lair, you have to save your sister by playing a quiz game. against the witch. So she sets up this quiz game where you just basically have to answer all these questions. You have to answer questions, complete challenges, do random shit.
Oh, okay.
And then once you wait, what's wrong with you, Gobi? Gobi, I thought I'd just bonk you on the stump. Or do I have to release it? Ah, there you go. You happy, Gobi? Thank you. Right, what am I missing? I'm missing a few notes and one jiggy. And then we're done. Did Sane join, by the way, or?
Sane did not join.
Oh, Irish is on his PC, but he's unavailable. Let's not invite Caden in.
Joined parties on PC before.
Is Sane appearing offline? It's not on my friends right now.
He is appearing offline.
He did send. Yeah, he did send me an invite. Did he just like get on and then I blanked his invite and now he's gotten off?
He just wanted the validation of getting an invite and was like, "All right, I'm done."
Sane.
Wait, let's see.
Did you really enjoy? I hope you really enjoyed last night's race, Sonic. It was.
Oh my god, that was.
It was a
So
shit.
what happened? I keep
Okay,
hearing
so
about this
we raced Barvo, which is that oval where you hate Killer for all eternity. Anything to do with
because I would have
racing.
won the race. Yeah, I would have won the race. That's another story.
What was with this magic carpet?
Me and Killer, like, during the whole time, we're just talking to each other in DMs about how much we hated what was happening.
It was just, I don't blame you. It was not good. It's a bit of
what
a
even,
So you missed the first moto. Yeah, Sonic didn't even race the first moto, which is when all this chaos happened.
My sister, like, had to, like, yell at me about something, and I came back and everyone would not stop yelling at each other.
Basically, the race was going along as a normal oval would, where there were a lot of cautions, there was some conky action, you know, like any normal moto.
Yeah.
But then we get to the end of the race, and the way the ovals work is that if a caution is called at the end of the race, you have to add on 2 more laps because you can't like finish under caution.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to actually finish with some proper racing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. This doesn't happen very often. You know, there's not many occasions where there's cautions that happen again and again and again, so you can't finish the race. It happened on this occasion though. We got to 5 laps to go. There was a caution called. We got through it. We get to 2 laps to go. There's a caution called. So because we're within the 2-lap window, we have to go for another 2 laps.
Okay.
Another caution happens off of the restart. Oh, sorry, another wreck happens. We have to do another caution. So another 2 laps. And this happened a good, like, 2 or 3 times. And I don't think this is a rule. I think we came up with this by mistake. We decided on the 3rd caution that, like, okay, that's the last caution. This is the final 2 laps, no matter what happens.
Well, that's a fun rule.
That was a mistake because whilst it should have encouraged everyone to drive a bit more cleanly, there was another wreck.
Each other.
There was another wreck.
It was crash someone.
So it was transpired that we didn't know this until after the race, or maybe like a couple of people knew because they were at the front. Soul was battling for the win. Soul caused a wreck with the driver. I think
Soul would do.
he caused a wreck on Luke, who was the other driver, battling for the win. That basically caused Luke to lose all his speed and caused a giant pileup, which affected a lot of the drivers. But because race finish was still called, it led then to a massive debate and a massive argument that
over if it should have counted.
Yeah, and the reason why everyone was arguing was just because nobody could come to a decision. Some people, like the 2 people that are meant to be making these decisions are Opix and Detail. Like, Luke is sort of still in charge of the HRL, but he's not. He doesn't want to get involved in this. He doesn't want to. No. He just doesn't want to get in charge of any. He just doesn't want to be involved in decision making.
Yeah,
I see.
He's the de facto leader of the HRL without actually being involved in any of the.
Okay.
And to be fair, Luke was getting a lot of stick, which has happened plenty of times in the past. But actually, he was in the right this time, because if I was in his position, battling for the lead, and I got, perhaps some might say, deliberately taken out and deliberately wrecked, and it caused a pileup, and he went from battling for the lead to finishing 6th. If that was me in that position, I'd be fucking fuming as well. I'd be super pissed and saying, you've got to have another caution off of that.
Yeah.
I think and again, this is all based off of hindsight, you know, it's easy to say this now, but I think what we should have done is just keep calling cautions until we get it done, but the longer it goes on, the more severe the penalties become for the people that start causing these wrecks.
What, so they get, like, moved further back in the line?
Well, no, you just get penalties at the end of the race, after the race, like post-race. I imagine that there are going to be a shit ton of penalties given out to people, including maybe me. I had at least a couple of them where they were debatable. They weren't deliberate, but I did end up taking people out.
I totally took out Armada somewhere in there.
Oh, I tell you what you did. Arpix got way too in a bad mood already, but the fact that you got in his way like 3 times in a row in the heat, I think put him in a bad mood, to the point of like, he was like, anytime you did anything wrong from there on out, he was like, Sonic.
Yeah,
Sonic.
he started calling things on me when Killer did them, and then I just
exactly,
laughing.
And I know why he did it, because he was peed off at you because you blocked him like 3 times in a row in the heat. And,
the problem was, the time that I accidentally blocked him, someone was coming on the inside and the outside, and I had nowhere to go. So
he was in the wrong. He was definitely in the wrong on a couple of those calls that he made against you. Where like on a couple of the calls where he was like Sonic. And it was just like there's nothing he could do.
Like, cause I didn't want to try and go off the road because I wasn't sure if that was illegal.
Well, you don't really have much room anyway.
I did end up going off the road a couple of times just because I couldn't really do anything else.
I mean, the off-road on that track is really not anything at all. It's just like the tiniest patch of green, which barely is a goose lane.
I couldn't really get out of the way of people, and people were like, "Move!"
You were stuck in a really tricky position when you get into that. When you get into that chain where like you're just getting lapped.
A bad racer.
When you get stuck in that chain of getting lapped over and over again, and there's nothing you can do, it's just impossible. It's almost impossible to get out of for any driver, no matter how experienced they are. Where is this last?
I mean, the problem is I don't know enough about racing that, like, you know, when people are calling blue flag, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what any of the stuff they're saying means. It doesn't mean anything to me.
So, the argument by the time Sonic came back, the argument was: should that be the official finish, or should we restart based off the previous caution? They shot themselves in the foot by saying this is the last caution.
No matter what.
Yeah, because then when they were debating like should we count it or should we just go for another 2 laps, when they were suggesting let's go for another 2 laps, they were saying let's do it based on the previous lineup from the last caution 2 laps ago. But nobody can remember that. Nobody can remember where they were 2 laps ago. If they restarted it, which is what they should have, which is what we ended up doing, they should have done it based on what the lineup was then.
Did they only did 1 race that counted then, I guess?
No, we still ended up doing the second moto, but it took us forever to do it. Like, Strafe rage quit because he got cleaned out. Like, with 5 laps to go, he was in 4th, and then he got caught up in all the wrecks. Like, there was 4 cautions, and he got caught up in most of them, and he went from 4th to like 11th, I think it was, and so he rage quit, and so he wasn't even but that was on stream. Rip. It's true though. I'm sorry. He just got massively. Fuck. I'm not gonna find this honeycomb piece. I'm just gonna go finish. He got massively like worked up. He was getting like angry before the race even started, and he was playing Fallen Order, and he plays it on Jedi Master, and he was getting.
Oh shit! Sorry.
I guess this is a story for Puma now. He was playing it on Jedi Master, and he was naturally it was pissing him off.
Because it's a Star Wars game.
Well, no, just because anything on the highest difficulty is probably rage-inducing.
Yeah.
So he was already in a bad mood then, and yeah, then he just started raging.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
So he missed out on the whole thing, which is probably a good thing actually, that he missed out on the whole argument of like, should we restart, should we not, what are we doing,
Yeah.
should we do this, should we do that, blah 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 blah.
On and on.
But then, because we were taking so long to make a decision, Real Deal just decided to give up, and he quits. Like whilst we were figuring it out, he was like,
Is that
he just didn't want to.
D Mills person?
D Mills, yeah. He just decided he didn't want to sit because we were taking. I can understand we were taking way too long, so I get it. I get why he just quit and gave up. Didn't want to race anymore. I'm surprised more people didn't consider doing that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what the best option was. It should. I think we should have. The whole reason this happened is because there was a lack of clarity. There was a lack of being able to make a decision.
Oh.
And that is on optics in detail, but I think all of us didn't
But the
really
problem
help.
is everyone wanted to like shout their opinion into it.
I mean, I was
Even though
offering my opinion. I was trying to offer my opinion, but I thought I was trying to offer it in a calm manner.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see most of it, so I really can only give so much.
Oh, this bloody bear. Yeah, so what we ended up doing was because the other reason why it didn't help is that Luke refused to move. We got Obix wrote down the lineup for the original finish.
Yeah, I thought he went AFK. Was he just
And
standing there?
then we realized that Luke was making a stand. He was like, "No, we're doing a restart," and that shows, like he was right to do that because he was pissed off. But the way he went about it, like, is like, we have to do it this way, or fuck, I've just lost again. This stream is going to end with me getting my ass whooped by this bear in a race. I've lost 3 times across this whole stream, this whole podcast to this guy. Attempt number 4. Come on, I've got to win this race and get one more jiggy. Could you just let me win, you bloody bear?
You're bloody bear.
Yeah, the way he went about it was just incredibly childish. Like, I'm not moving. Like it was a kind of like, I'm making a stand. I'm staying here.
It was just, the whole thing was a complete joke.
And
Yeah, at that point
could-
where people like Luke, you just gotta be like, deal with it, or you're just huge from the race.
like
for not following the rules.
yeah, but that's another problem is because Luke is the guy who
He owns the thing.
he doesn't. But that's the thing. He owns. He create. Oh, you bastard! Oh, okay, no, we're fine. We can still win this. We can still win this. We might still win this. It's still going to be difficult. Get your fat ass out of my way! Ah! Come on, we can win this. We can win this. We can win this. We can win this. No, you bastards! He overtook me at the last corner!
That's unfortunate.
Where were we?
Talking about how Luke owns it, but yeah, if Luke owns it and he's gonna abuse his power, then
Luke created the league, and to all intents and purposes is still considered part of the the structure, you know, the people running the league, but he doesn't do any of it. Like, I think maybe he picks the tracks. He's helped pick the tracks, but that's it. That's all he's done.
Yeah.
He's not involved in the decision making. He used to do the videos, but he doesn't do them. He didn't want to do them for this because this whole season,
right?
this whole season 14, the original concept was they wanted to race every race type, but then go TRS the second round, which is like wrecking.
Yeah.
Was such a shit show that
they caught
that
it.
people. Oh my god, he's beating me again. He's beating me again. I can't beat this bloody bear. I can't beat this guy. He finds like an extra. He becomes Usain Bolt in the last part of the race.
Then you need to become Usain Bolt.
He finds an extra level of speed at the end of the race.
Maybe try not getting too far ahead of him because he probably rubber bands.
Well, that's what I'm considering. I'm considering staying behind him the whole race to see if he goes slower. I'm gonna stay up his. You know what? I'm gonna have a look at your ass. I'm gonna perform a prostate on you on this bed. I've lost again.
You walk
Fell off the
into
cliff.
the doctor's office and it's just Hunter.
You love that.
Something
Yeah,
else.
but he doesn't get involved in any of the decision making. One of the big things he used to do was making the videos, and he doesn't do that now. Since we did the reset on this season and turned it into a normal season, he doesn't. He made it clear he doesn't want to do it. So me and Fireball picked it up. And to be clear, we're doing this as a one-off. Like, this is not going to become a regular thing. Like, this is almost certainly going to be the last Halo 5 season anyway. If it became a series in Infinite, I would not want to carry on doing it, because it is a lot of work. And I'm not going to lie to you, Tournament 22 could be much further down the line than it currently is in terms of the editing side of it, if I wasn't spending so much time editing these. And when I say spending so much time, I'm not spending like hours and hours on these racing videos.
Yeah, it's just
but it is time spent, editing these racing videos.
For no real reason, other than the owner doesn't want to.
It's to provide, so that there's a record for it, because me and Fireball have always wanted to do it. No, I've made a mistake. I went in front. I got the lead. He's turned into Usain Bolt. I'm Mick Jagger, or someone that's really slow.
What's up? You're Luke Allen.
Yeah, I am quite slow. I'm Irish. You know what? I'm Irish. Irish is slow.
You're Irish. You've become Irish.
It's just
like you started out as like, what's a mediocre person in terms of speed?
I used to be fast. Oh god, I got a really slow start, and he's actually already really far ahead of me. So I hope he doesn't DQ me for going. Okay, now I've caught back up.
Oh, you have to stay within a certain distance of him?
Yeah, there's a if you fall too far behind, he's like, this is too easy, I give up.
Should get better.
Did I get in front of him? Oh yeah, I think he keeps going, whoa-hey! So that's how I know he's always in the lead or ahead of me.
Yeah.
Keep your slow ass. I'm just going slow. When he goes slow, I go slow.
I thought you wanted to take a look at that.
Slow. He's going slower. Steal it from him at the end! I won. I stole it from him at the end. Yeah, it is literally rubber banding. You have to stay behind him, or he goes faster.
I guess they expected children to be bad at this.
Well, this is the thing. You can tell this is a game in the 90s, because this is back when games were hard. Like, games in the 90s.
Well, the problem is, like, they gear everything to, like, 5-year-olds. So I guess, like, to create lifelong fans of whatever series it is. So
yeah, by scarring their childhood and their brains with these psychotic characters or psychotic levels. I bet some poor kids got nightmares about losing to this bear 100 times in a race.
They just wake up in a cold sweat like, it's that bear again.
Yeah, sorry, so again, to finish the conversation, it was... I don't blame Luke, having looked back at it in the, like, because I didn't see the incident at the time, I can understand why Luke got pissed off, because I would be exactly the same as him, but he just went about it he acted like a kid, like, I'm not moving, I'm making a stand, we're doing a restart, and everyone...
A stand for what? The league you own? Make better rules.
Well, there again, that's not his fault. Technically, that's not his fault because he's not the one making the decisions. That's on Detail and Opix. And Opix is
the owner of the league.
You can be the owner without, but you can.
In that situation.
You can be the owner without.
But it doesn't sound like he does anything.
He doesn't do anything now. No, I agree with that. Oh, fuck's sake. He doesn't do anything now, but even like the original season 14, like he still picked all the tracks. That's the only thing I think that's the only thing he's contributed to this like redo, the second version of this season 14.
Oh wait, so did the
what happened to the first season
way
14?
Back in one, did that just get
So the first version of season 14 was this one where we were going to race every track type. So we had like 6 races on go-karts, then we were going to have 6 races on TRS, which is like it's normal racing, but there's crossover sections, which encourages wrecking.
Okay.
Encourages or allows?
Allows.
Okay. Is that the most fun in my opinion? The most fun is just getting to wreck people.
And then you've got, well, that's why I still love DRL and do it occasionally, but it's all done on MCC. And I don't mind, like all these guys that are complaining about, that were complaining last night, part of their complaints were because they don't like Halo 5 racing. But,
well,
I am at the point where I'm so used to Halo 5 racing that... Oh, you bastard! I missed it by a fraction of a second! I'm at the point where I've done Halo 5 racing for so long that I'm just like... I just can't go back to MCC racing, and if I do, I'm just absolutely dog shit at it.
Shit at it.
So, like, when I do MCC, I do it for fun and, like, to have a laugh, because DRL is meant to be fun and not competitive. There's some people in it that I think are absolute sweats. I did a DRL, like, a couple of months ago, and there was a guy in it who, like, so... It's all points-based, so if there's 16 drivers... You get 16 points for finishing first. There's 6... No. Got it! Got it. There's 6... So that if there's 16 drivers, you get 16 points for finishing first. There's 6 races in a DRL night. So that's 96 points you can get. This dude I was racing with got 95 points.
Wow.
So he won 5 of the races and came second in the other one. And that, to me, like... My god, that's like different levels of sweat.
Yeah.
I just think, yeah, so we had TRS, then we were going to have Ovals, SX, GPs, Rallycross, and I think that was it. I think that was the 6 that we were going to do. I don't think we were going to have a grand finals. I think we were just going to have these 6 different mini-seasons. TRS was such a shit show because whilst there was wrecking in the crossover sections, there was also wrecking... Are you kidding me? I'm gonna get murdered by a snowman. Oh, you know what? It's not even worth trying to kill this guy. Whilst there was wrecking in the crossover sections, which is where it's supposed to happen, there was wrecking on every part of the track. And it just made a lot of people... I didn't enjoy TRS for all the wrecking. Other people didn't enjoy it because they thought it was just too chaotic. And that led to massive debates amongst the guys that run the league, which is Opix, Detail, Real Deal, and Luke. Because, yes, all these arguments that Luke... why is he running it if he's not in charge of any of this stuff? Is that, like... Yes, he doesn't involve himself in, like, doesn't have a set, like, he doesn't he doesn't want to get involved in decision making. The reality is, he still has a massive sway on people. Like, his opinion still matters because he was once the guy who made all the decisions, and he was the only guy that made all those decisions. It's like everyone still values... Well, okay. It's like how some people still value my opinion on a jumping debate.
Jumping debates are toxic. So
no, okay, sorry, not jumping, not those jumping, not those, I didn't actually mean those kind of jumping debates. I just mean like a general conversation about something to do with jumping.
Ah.
I didn't mean those kind of debates. But part of the reason why is because I've been doing it for so long, and that's why my opinion is sort of taken into account. That's the only reason, I think.
Well, I mean, you also own a course.
Oh yeah, okay,
like,
yeah, I do run a course, but that helps
I feel like
as well.
running a course, especially one that, like, you know, is considered a major course, that's gonna give you like a whole lot of sway. I think if Rog didn't run Spartan Sasuke for the last 5 years, he would have virtually no sway on anything.
My god, actually, I'm pretty sure Rog passed his 6-year anniversary a couple of months ago.
I think it was 5 year.
No, it's 2016.
Wait, was it?
Halo 5 came out
Was it
2015, so it's 2016 when his course started.
6 years.
Saying the legend, if he came in here, I would have mentioned the fact that he put up a YouTube video this week. He put this up way too early. Because he actually highlights when he created his YouTube channel. And he's not reached the milestone yet, even though he just did a video on it. His YouTube channel is almost 15 years old.
Wow.
15?
Yeah, he put up this like 10-minute video of like my YouTube channel, my 15-year anniversary of my YouTube channel. But then like he went into the channel and started looking at analytics and stuff.
And it hasn't been out for that long.
And actually, the 15-year anniversary is not until August, and it's June. So I don't know why he did it early. I don't know why he did it early, but yeah, it's almost 15 years old.
It's something better to do.
Hey, well, it's like we just said, Smokey's course is going to be 10 years old in less than 6 months.
How old is your course at this point?
My course is now, since the Halo 3 tournament, is over 12 years old. It reached 12 years 2 months ago. But if we're talking official tournaments, which is...
The first Halo 3 tournament's official.
Yeah, okay, it's official, but, you know, I still have that skewer about it because at the time, I didn't run it as an official tournament. I just did it for fun. And, like, all the people that ran it were either randos that were on my friends list at the time, or people who were friends of people that were on my friends list at the time.
Okay.
And
How
my
many
brother.
people... Wait, did anyone who competed in that original tournament, like, or any of them, like, is there any people who are around to this day who were in that original tournament? I never went back and
Not
watched
to this
it.
day, absolutely not. No. My brother did 5 tournaments. There was a guy called Yovgost who you can tell for those still watching this that have also never figured this out. Sonic runs his own course, God bless him. He's very bad at watching other people's courses.
Yep, I am terrible at watching it.
This is why Sonic is never going to get invited to the quiz, because he knows nothing.
I need to just like spend a couple weeks, just go back and watch everything.
You watch Rog's course, I feel like, and that's...
I watch Rog's course. I feel like the one I really slack on is yours.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So,
Wow.
I mean, I definitely need to go back, and that's my fault.
Like slacking on my best course.
But... Sorry, what was it? Oh yeah, Yovgost, he competed in the first 3 tournaments, and then he took a long gap, and then he was in a few Halo 4 tournaments. He's a Frenchman.
Frenchman.
And then aside from him and my brother, there's been like a couple of people that have made like one-off appearances after that.
The guy in Tournament 5 who competed in Tournament 1 who beat
He was in
Stage 1
Tournament 1,
5.
failed Stage 1 in Tournament 1, and then he was one of, I think, 3 people that I invited back for Tournament 5 because they were all on my friends list and had reach at the time.
Yep.
And he was the only one of the 3 that did good because he beat Stage 1.
What about that guy who we were like watching, like we all were like, it was during Smokey's stream when he was like drunk as hell, and like he pulled up like a clip of some random guy and that guy.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to
name?
remember this now. You know what this rings about? He put up a so Smokey did a stream once where he was
opening all of his rec packs.
He was opening his rec packs, and then he put up whilst he was opening his rec packs, he put up clips of HNW from down the years.
Yeah.
And he put up a clip of a guy. Oh, it was it Clannish? It was Clannish Safe. I don't know if you remember Clannish, Puma.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
Clannish,
him.
that's it.
He was the kid. He was a kid who I knew in real life because he went to my school, and I once got his dad to run my course. That's a true story. He actually ran it once.
That's funny.
He out of nowhere. Like this is like this. The level of of ingenious timing on this is impossible. It's like absolutely impossible that this actually happened. He put up a clip of Clannish. He put up a clip of Clannish, but Smokey was like, I think we were playing a guessing game. It was like,
yeah, we were playing a guessing game. Play a random clip from a random turn and be like, who's that guy?
And can you figure out who it is? And
who it is? What tournament?
Yeah. And he put this one up because he was like, I bet you guys are going to really struggle to figure this one out.
And we did.
Oh, shit. Oh, there's more. There's more shit. And he put up Clannish, and then Clannish, out of nowhere, comes into the stream. I don't think he knew that it was his run that was happening at the time. He just came into the stream. And then he commented, like, hey guys, it's me, Clannish Safe. And Smokey was like, what?
Smokey would not believe it.
Well, Smokey initially was confused because he thought, like, wait, is this random guy somehow managed to guess that this is Clannish's run? But then he realized that this guy was actually trying to claim that he was Clannish Safe. And then Smokey just lost his mind. It was like, there's no way. There's no way that this guy, because, like, what are the odds? What, like, on what level of, like...
How?
Yeah, how? Like...
It was insanity.
It's like if, Puma, you disappear. If you disappear for forever, and we don't hear from you again.
8 years.
Let's say you pull an Irish and you die. And then you disappear out of nowhere. And then you come back, but you make your comeback by jumping into a live stream that Smokey's doing at the time.
Where
And he's like, and he's like, can anyone guess who this competitor is? And he puts up a clip of one of Puma's runs, and then you come in at that exact moment and say, hey guys, it's Puma, I'm back. It's like, what are the odds? There's the odds, like... No. The odds of it happening. The odds of Clannish doing that.
Over a million scenario.
Yeah, the odds of Clannish doing that are. It's a bit like that thing in the Death, like when in Star Wars, when they're in the asteroid belt and C-3PO is like, sir, the odds of surviving an asteroid belt are 3,625 to 1. Never tell me the odds. And it's like that's the level of odds for Clannish being the one who turned up as a run of Clannish is on the live stream. It's crazy. And then he proved it was him because he gave me his Discord name. I messaged the guy, and he started saying all these things about his dad and about what he's doing now, and so I knew it was him.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the old Urban Angel when he did a run in my tournament 17, and me and Smoke. Well, obviously I was there because I was running the tournament, but Smokey was there as well, and he was just as confused as me as to like this random guy that did good once on Reach just turns up out of nowhere. But like, we can't prove it was an alt, but at the same time we can't prove that it was real because it was just so random. I don't know if you remember that one about Urban Angel.
Yeah, he was in 17, right? Yeah.
He came back in 17 and made it to stage 3, and it's his only appearance he's made on my course since tournament 10.
Oh, hello?
Cut out. Oh, hello? Did you cut out?
Cut out for 1 second. There we go, we're good. We're back.
Yes, and look, looking back on it now, his only appearance since tournament 10, it is probably an alt. I'm not... Well, no, actually, no. I can't say that because he might be coming up in the top 10 soon. He might be an alt, but we can't prove that he's an alt, is the point. And even if he was an alt, and me and Smokey have said this ever since, even if he was an alt, we don't know who was good enough back then, like back in that MCC days.
Yeah.
Who was good enough to get as far as he... Maybe for all I know, Smokey was trolling me and it was him the whole time, and he was just on split screen. So you know what?
That'd be something.
We're gonna wrap this up by showing you what happens if you quit the game, and then you get to watch your sister die, and this evil witch becomes. But she doesn't even become pretty. Actually, she does all this to become pretty, and she doesn't even become pretty because she's still green. She's thin, but she's still green. Nobody would go near her with a barge pole.
Is this
all you end up with is 3 characters that are ugly as shit, which is the witch, who is now thin, the sister, who is now ugly, and the witch's assistant, who's called Klonga. Rest in peace, Klonga. She doesn't even look cute. Anyone who's stayed for this long, who can tell me that she looks cute? She's still green.
That sounds
I don't even
like
remember
a
this
problem.
bit. Oh my god. His sister looks even uglier than I remember. Your sister wants a word with you. Now! Game over. You know what, it's so green, it's reminded me of a scene in a show called Blackadder, which is a really classic... it's like Horrible Histories, but it was made in the 80s in the UK. It's like considered one of the funniest comedies from back in the day. There was a scene in it once where one of the main... It's I can't remember the exact... It's like an episode set in like the 16th century where they want to try and make money. And one of the main characters comes up with this idea of, let's create gold. And so he turns their house into like a laboratory. And he's like, "Sir, success! I've managed to create gold!" And then he shows it off. And he opens it, and it's like, "Behold, Percy, it's green." Yes! Percy, I don't want to get pedantic with you, but the colour of gold is gold. That's why it's called gold. What you have discovered, if it has a name, is some green. Oh my lord, can it be? I have created a nugget of green! Yes, you have, Percy, except it's not so much a nugget, more of a splat.
Got it.
So we 3 people in the whole world are the sole owners of the world's supply of green. Yes! And yeah, it's just...
We love it.
Ah, dear. Anyway, if all this racing goes to shit and last night's race ends up being the last race because they decide to cancel season 14 for the 2nd time, which I hope they don't do. I really hope they don't do it.
Are they considering that?
Well, Opix... Okay, well, this is a whole separate conversation. Opix is massively... he gets super depressed very easily. He gets very defeatist. And so Opix is already like, what's the point? Blah, blah, blah. Just like, oh, Jesus. Like... I'm to the point where it's like, oh my god, stop. I get it, but Opix just goes to like levels that's just insane. With
Overdriving funny cars in Halo.
most people, like anyone that's a jumper that races in this, races in it like is all right. Like apart from maybe Soul, but that's only because Soul doesn't.
Because it's Soul.
No, but I think it's because Soul's gotten into MCC racing now, and he likes MCC racing. Everyone else that races in HRL that's a jumper does it because they enjoy Halo 5 racing. I enjoy it because it's probably the thing I'm best at now, from a racing point of view. I don't
really enjoy it. I just do it.
Yeah, everyone that's not a jumper, pretty much, has gotten to the point where there's too many things about Halo 5 racing that they don't like. And so they would rather do MCC racing because there's 3 different games where you can get good racing on it.
Just set it to MCC racing only.
Like, well, yeah, they can do now, and they probably will do once they decide what they want to do with this season 14. I think that's a problem in itself because you can't just keep living in the past forever. Like when Infinite comes out, like when Infinite Racing becomes a thing, like how many chances do you give Infinite Racing before people are just like, no, I don't like it, it sucks, blah blah blah, I'm going back to MCC racing. It's no different to if we decided, oh, when Halo 5 Forge came out, we were like, oh, Halo 5 Forge sucks, I'm only going to host jump tournaments on MCC, blah blah blah. It's living in the past. Like, Halo jumping moves with the times. It moved with the times when MCC came out. It moved with the times when Halo 5 comes out. It's going to move with the times when Infinite comes out, unless Forge is an absolute shit show on Infinite. And
which it probably is going to be.
Racing eventually has to do the same thing as well. They can't keep living in the past of playing classic Halo games. They can do it now because there's so much content on MCC. But eventually, it's surely got to get to a point where you have to say, give the new game or give the current modern game a chance. I get why they don't want to do it with Halo 5, because Halo 5's been out for over 6 years now, and we've done so much racing on Halo 5, and people are to the point where they're tired of it, and because of the many, many, many problems that people have with Halo 5 racing. But yeah, I think you just need to. I think you need to get this season done. There's 5 more races. Get it done. Me and Fable will whip out the videos and provide great content. And then if they don't want to race Halo 5 ever again, that's fine. They can go back to MCC, carry on racing that, and I'll go back to actually putting all my focus into T22.
Very good.
Yeah, that's what I think they should do.
Preach.
And on that lovely note, let's finish, because there's 8 minutes left until we get to 3 hours on this podcast. So let's finish with one final question of...
Sonic FamYT on YouTube. Sorry.
No, let's finish with a final question of... I'm trying to think of something Halo jumping related. What's your favourite Halo jumping moment ever for you as a competitor? That's happened yet? Puma, you can go first. What's your crowning moment as a competitor that you remember it and like you could go back and watch the video and you just love it?
My first stage 1 clearing.
In HNW?
Yeah, in HNW.
Yeah. Sonic, what's yours?
An unfortunate moment in Spartan Sasuke it was 19. Where Rog played a funny audio clip of me that has now haunted me for the last 2 years.
Oh, he overshot it.
That clip is funny though. For an actual answer though, probably. That's a tough question. I haven't been around all too long, so.
You've got at least maximum of 6 more minutes to come up with an answer.
I'll say my first time getting to stage 3 on the same tournament. Okay. And watching Chumpy get to the final after talking about it with him for so much time, that was fun.
If I had to pick one, I'll just go with getting back to the final stage in HNW 16.
That's a tournament that Weapon got first, right?
He got first, but you know, I don't think I can pick like the first time I got to the final stage, because back then it didn't mean as much. Like, it was still pretty cool, but it didn't like Smokey's course was still in its early days. It was still in its early roots.
Yeah.
We did it for funsies, and there wasn't too much like emphasis on like doing good back then.
Now
but,
everyone's out to beat each other.
16, getting back there in 16 after trying for so long was really sweet, and it kind of, I think if I had to put it down to one specific moment, it would be when I actually beat stage 3 and just sat on the finish line for a few seconds. It felt like a very like controller drop moment. But obviously back then the Obama mic drop hadn't happened yet in history, so I can't call it a Obama mic drop. Irish is still nowhere to be seen. Sane is still dead.
It's no fun when Irish isn't around.
So I guess on that note, that was our Ninja podcast. We talked about Sasuke, and we actually turned it into a podcast where we talked about normal stuff as well, which was kind of fun.
Sorry for crashing your podcast. I didn't realize that it was a podcast.
Puma invited you. It's fine.
Yeah, you're all good.
I would have invited more people in. I would have invited Sane in and talked to him about RE4 if he'd come in. I would have invited Irish in and talked to him about how the Arabs are taking over golf, apparently, and everyone hates it for some reason.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know that. Just
I would
chaos.
like to host more podcasts if it just meant I would like to host more podcasts if it just meant we chatted about anything and everything. It didn't just have to be a specific topic of conversation.
Yeah.
It's actually just coming up with things to talk about that's going on in the real world that interests us.
Enough to
know. Do you want to get a word in before the podcast?
I have plenty of things to discuss that's going on in the real world, like everything I just said. RE4, golf, soccer, Liverpool's still number 1.
Hunter, how do you feel about Wales making the World Cup?
Excellent. It's the first time in 20 years that a home nation that's not England has made it to a World Cup. So, and Wales are now in a group with England, USA, and Iran. And if they actually turn up and play well, they actually have a half-decent shot of getting out of the group.
Yeah.
If England and Wales both got out of the group, I'd be very happy. If England and the USA got out of the group, I'd be equally happy just for ump's entertainment. If Wales and the USA got out of the group, I'd be not happy, and I would never live it down thanks to ump. I was gonna say something, it's escaped me. Nope, it's gone now. Snoz, want to get a quick final word in?
Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't even know what it said.
It said Stephen Curry.
One of the greatest
Basketball.
NBA Finals performances last night.
Anyone who gets that reference, yes. Actually, you know what? I will say
More
one thing
people
about
will
the golf.
probably get that reference more than your soccer, Hunter.
It's true. I will say one thing about this golf thing, so that it's just officially on stream and as a record. I saw a thing, like some US analyst on like CNN or something, that was talking about why this sucks. And one of the reasons why golfers are doing what they're doing now, like they're going to this Arab golf tournament thing, is that they don't think like Phil Mickelson's come out and said like he doesn't think the top golfers earn enough money, or like they get paid enough for how much they contribute to the sport. I then saw
now the Arabs are paying them like
I then saw
$1
something like that. I then saw this CNN golf analyst who, and I can't believe this is true. This is actually, I looked this up after he said it, and it's genuinely true. there's a list on Google, like on a website somewhere, of the highest paid sports athletes in history, like from ever, like from when they started their career and how much money they've earned up to their death. Or if they're
Is
still
Arnold
alive.
is Arnold Palmer number one?
No, I don't know. I can't remember. I should know who's number one, but it's not a golfer. Somebody's at, I can't remember who's at number one. Tiger Woods is at number two. Another golfer is at number three. I can't remember. I've forgotten who it was.
It might be Arnold Palmer.
Might be Arnold Palmer. And Jack Nicklaus is at number four. So 3 of the 4 most wealthiest sports athletes in history.
But there's a reason for that, and it's not. It's. I see what you're trying to get at. When a pro athlete in every other sport has to retire, golfers have another 20 years. In golf, you can play till you're 60, literally, and make a fortune. And in all the other sports, you're done at what, early 30s usually?
Yeah,
so, like, Tiger's career is twice as long as an athlete of virtually every other sport.
Phil Mickelson is 11. This sports analysis guy did a really good job of trying to explain it. Like, Phil Mickelson is 11th all time, and he said like he's ahead of like Steph Curry and David Beckham and stuff like that. Greg Norman is 15th all time. He's ahead of Kobe Bryant, Lewis Hamilton. And he was making the point of like Phil Mickelson and Greg Norman have said all these comments about joining the league because it's all about money. But then this analysis guy has pointed out these golfers have earned more money than
but
individual players that play in.
I was just going to say, I get what you're getting at, but do you really think when Phil and them talk about golfers aren't making enough money, do you really think they're talking about the top 7 golfers in the history of the world, which is really who you listed? I think they're talking about the average golfer more than anyone. You just mentioned the cream of the crop, right? But what about the guy who's ranked 30th in the world or 40th in the world? They're not... You know, that's, I think, because you're right, at the top they're making but I guess the top athletes in all sports with endorsements are all making a fortune. Like, I can't imagine Ronaldo and those guys not being real close if they're not up there. I think
Ronaldo and Neymar are in the top 10, and they're the 2 highest paid footballers in the, I don't know where Lionel Messi is. And anyway, so join us for the next podcast where me, Irish, and Snoz get into a 3-hour debate about the golf league, the history of golf, and the future of golf. This video has been going on for 3 hours, and it's been going on so long, it's asking me, do you want to stop recording and start a new recording? So, on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Subscribe to Hunter, subscribe to me, subscribe to Snoz.
Subscribe to me as well. I got a channel.
Not Puma.
Yeah, Puma's got a Twitch stream.
Oh yeah,
that he uploads his YouTube to.
I forgot Puma does stuff. Anyway.
Wow. Disrespect.